Chiefs going back to another Super Bowl? What is he hearing on just kind of some of the side stories that I think around this time of the year is really cool, whether it's Nate Taylor or any of the other reporters that have covered the team all year, and Nate's as good as anybody, of course, and that is kind of the deeper dive nuggets, talking to players either after the game or those in the organization and just how things came to be. Specifically, there's been a lot of talk about the way the Chiefs used some certain play designs that they hadn't used the entire season. And then all of a sudden, they busted them out for an AFC title game. And that's why for years, it's not so much that they're like, intentionally not doing things fully like to win or anything. It's that there are certain elements and designs they do have in their back pocket for moments like we saw clearly in the AFC title game. It doesn't mean that, hey, if they think there's a play that can help them win in week 12, they're not going to use it. No, but against Buffalo in week 11, I think it was clear. Sean McDermott and the Bills went all out in week 11, Cody.
And at the time, that felt like that was a big deal for the number one seed because had the Chiefs won the game, we knew that the number one seed was dead and locked and pretty much over with. It turns out because the Bills lost the following week, it was dead anyway. But yeah, at the time, they felt like they had to go all out. At this point, if I were Sean McDermott, I'd stop showing anything in a regular season game. You're 4-0 in the regular season and 0-4 in the playoffs. Probably time to go out and wrap that one up if I were them, right? I just go ahead and call it a day if I were the Bills in the regular season one. Play base and then hope that you get a win that way.
Definitely got to be some thought. Something. I mean, if you're a Bills fan and if you're the Bills organization, you got to try something different. You're 0-3 now, and 4, I should say, in the postseason against Patrick Mahomes. You guys can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. So we talk about the historical context of what the Chiefs are doing, right? No team has gone in a back-to-back season the next year to a Super Bowl. They're the first team to even be a game away from a three-peat. That already is history. That already, for some people, puts them in a world on their own. I think if we're talking about in sports history, not just NFL, in all of sports, greatest dynasty, I think the three-peat solidifies that. You do something in the NFL that's never been done by three-peating, I think it elevates you above everybody else because in basketball and some of these other sports, and there's been some great dynasties in sports history, which normally we celebrate dynasties. Normally we're like, wow, we're witnessing history, how great it is, and that's what is very frustrating right now with what the Chiefs are doing is it seems like outside of Kansas City, it's not being recognized enough. I think they're being disrespected. It's really
continued in the ref complaining nonsense.
That's what it is. I mean,
it's annoying.
Whether we're talking about the Boston Celtics of the 80s or whatever, like those people in the moment, if you go back and watch any of the E30s or whatever, like people appreciated it in the moment. It's weird. Maybe people will 20 years from now and everybody will, and it's just, hey, right now they're the dominant team. But I think a football dynasty, I take over a basketball dynasty, not just because we don't have an NBA team here, but I mean, if you have one bad game in the playoffs, you're going to lose. You're done. Your season's over. In the NBA, I can have 2 or 3 bad outings in the middle of a series, and I have a chance to still recover. We were talking pre-show. You brought it up. You're like, yeah, LeBron was down 3-1. Exactly.
Still won the NBA Finals against a 73-win Warriors team.
Still did. In the NFL, if Mahomes has a bad second half in an AFC title game, they lose. Yeah. That's why I'll weigh football dynasty over basketball personally.
Over baseball, too.
Over baseball.
Yankees were the last three-peat champion in that sport.
I do think they have to three-peat to be the greatest of all time and really be in that conversation.
Of all sports, I agree with you. I think you actually have to complete it because there are 3-time defending champions in that. In basketball, for instance, it was 3 in a row, then a 2-year break, then 3 more in a row for Michael Jordan. So an 8-year dynasty run that is probably, to this point, the gold standard of dynasties, unless you're going to like the college level like UCLA. But like in basketball, at that time, the cap was not as big of a deal. That wasn't until later during that run. You can, because it's 13 players, more easily manipulate a roster to be great at it, and one player has a bigger impact in basketball than one player on the NFL side of it. I think already they're the greatest football dynasty of all time. The argument's in their favor. No team has ever gone back to the championship game after winning 2 Super Bowls in a row. 3 teams have tried. They have all failed. The 4th team, the Chiefs, made it. No team has ever, in the Super Bowl era, made 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. During that time, Patrick Mahomes has been a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. I just think this is already the greatest NFL version of any dynasty that has ever existed. If they get the three-peat, it just cements it so that there's no argument. One really big, strong piece for me, and I know that this is probably like a sub-level or chapter, is the more I realized, how they're doing it is what stands out. So if they beat the Eagles, and we can talk about that, they will have held back one of the NFL's premier organizations twice, held back the 49ers twice, and on their way to the Super Bowl in the AFC. We all agree that the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL include Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. There's somebody else on the list, but those are 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. On their way to the Super Bowl the last 3 years, do you realize what they did in order? They beat Josh Allen to get to the Super Bowl this year, Lamar Jackson to get to the Super Bowl last year, Joe Burrow to get to the Super Bowl the year before. They're knocking off the best quarterbacks in the rest of the league on their way.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the Patriots, and obviously they knocked out Peyton Manning numerous times during that run as well. Ben Roethlisberger is also going to be a Hall of Famer as well. We assume Josh Allen and Lamar will be Hall of Famers when it's all said and done. But we know Manning's a Hall of Famer. Big Ben's going to get in.
He beat Blake Bortles for one of those.
So I hear you on the quarterbacks. I would have to go back deeper and say I think there's an argument you could say Brady also dealt with the quote unquote best quarterbacks at his time during his run.
But he never got to a third straight.
The thing is that's why I think the three-peat is so crucial. Plus, the elephant in the room here that nobody in New England seems to remember when they're discussing what's happening with the Chiefs is your franchise actually had a cheating scandal, not just like a social media conspiracy theory. A social media driven conspiracy theory is not the same thing as the league flat out investigating you for spying on practices and things like that and saying, no, you did this. Deflategate turned out to be a bit of a BS thing, but Spygate was real. That was a real thing that they have. And that's something that in New England, obviously, they don't want to acknowledge about dynasties. The Chiefs dynasty right now, if they were to lose, it doesn't mean the dynasty's over. It means they would have a lot more work to be done still to be the greatest dynasty of all time.
Probably just win it next year. I mean, again, look at the run. No team has ever done 5 of 6. Yeah. Nobody's ever, they already have some things in their favor that teams haven't accomplished. I went back through and looked. The Patriots had won 4 straight AFC championship games at one time. They faced Peyton Manning in the first one, Ben Roethlisberger in the second one. Who was the Denver Broncos quarterback in 2005 they faced? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That wasn't even the Patriots. I'm sorry. That was Pittsburgh versus Denver. So they had missed that one. Then they come back around and they had faced Phillip Rivers. They had faced, it's just if you go back through New England's.
Well, if you believe RG3, he says Josh Allen is going to be Phillip Rivers now that he's lost again.
Well, I mean.
That was his take yesterday. He says that he's going to be Phillip Rivers now.
So he's just going to throw for 60,000 yards.
Have a bunch of great stats, never won anything.
Dude, I don't even think Phillip Rivers even got to an AFC title. One? He got to one, I think?
I think that's correct.
He certainly didn't go on some sort of run. Here's another 3-year run of AFC title games for the New England Patriots appearance-wise. They beat Ben Roethlisberger, an aging Ben Roethlisberger at that point, Blake Bortles, and then Patrick Mahomes. So, they've had 3-year runs where 2 of the 3 quarterbacks were pretty good.
Yeah, now
but they haven't had runs where all 3 were good.
As someone points out on the text line, you can play the game with who they face in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs also have played Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo in 2 of the ones, too. Again, we're talking about the margins here.
True.
Nobody's trying to discount the dynasty, but we're having the conversation of greatest of all time, so we're going to nitpick.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's a fair point if someone brings up on the text line. I would have to go back and look. Who are
Brock Purdy, Jimmy G, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady.
Jalen Hurts.
I mean, Jalen Hurts at this point, he's been a starter in the NFL for 5 years. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's not a slouch. Jalen Hurts is not don't lump him in with Brock Purdy and Jimmy G, okay? That's actually kind of disrespectful. That man has been to 2 Super Bowls in 5 years as an NFL starter. I don't think we have to get carried away.
The quarterbacks Brady beat. Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Jake Delhomme, not a Hall of Famer.
Jake Delhomme.
Donovan McNabb.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Russell Wilson will be a Hall of Famer. I
think
still
so too.
But I know.
And that was in Russell's height of his powers.
Matt Ryan.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Jared Goff.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Matt Ryan will get in. He shouldn't, but he might.
Those are the recent ones. I'm trying to. I don't remember. This is just the last few of his 7.
The last few.
Right? Because I only named you, what was that, 4?
You do realize at one point we'll be doing this with Kansas City, right? We just named 5 quarterbacks that Patrick Mahomes has faced in the Super Bowl. He has been a starter in the NFL for 7 years.
Because 2 of the 3, obviously, we should have remembered. 2 of the 3 losses for Brady in Super Bowl were to Eli, and then he lost to Nick Foles.
He lost.
that was the random.
Now Eli's up for the Hall of Fame, but the fact that he won those is the only reason he's getting in.
Yeah.
No other statistical thing in Eli Manning's career suggests NFL Hall of Famer, but he beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl, which is enough to probably get you in the Hall of Fame. So, like, it's all relative. I understand. Yeah, sure. You're going to lose to Nick Foles or you're going to beat some Jake Delhomes along the way. That's essentially been the Super Bowl for Kansas City. Look, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be a Hall of Famer. Far too early in his career to probably make that diagnosis. But I got a pretty good sense that Josh Allen will be by the end of his career. And Lamar Jackson's already got 2 MVPs, so he'll probably be. We'll see on Burrow. Kind of depends on what he does with the rest of his career. Statistically, certainly, he's on a good start to that. But, I mean, it impresses me that those are the 3 guys you went past. Because you gave every single one of them a crack in 3 consecutive years, and not a single one of them could do it. Like, they all got their chance. It was a version of John Wick where the next bad guy steps up, and he just keeps winning. That stands out to me, of course. Yeah, I think it already is the best NFL dynasty. I know that there's other arguments to it. I don't think anyone's ever done it in this truncated of a time.
Not 5 or 6.
If we just say like that Patriots' entire run, in which you just ignore that they didn't win a Super Bowl for a decade straight and had to have a second dynasty, well then fine. But if we're just saying in 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever, this is it.
Yeah, I hear you. I think for the consensus opinion, for people that even are the biggest skeptics of the run, the three-peat, like, basically is a giant middle finger. Like, what the heck else are you going to say? You know, that ends any debate. And that's another reason why you want this thing to happen in a couple weeks down in New Orleans. Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. So it's a little early, but I want to take a little peek at it because we'll have plenty of time to dive deeper into this Eagles matchup. But right now, and for really since Sunday night, the odds have been out there, not only for the spread and the Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites, but
can I start getting some props?
Super Bowl MVP, touchdown props, player props, a lot of the fun stuff is already available. And you take a peek, and it shows you the gap that exists in that I think only 3 players, the odds show it, and I know we like to take long shots, but 3 players can win MVP. And the difference in the odds for the quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes is plus 110 right now at FanDuel to win Super Bowl MVP. Saquon Barkley, plus 280 to win MVP. Jalen Hurts, plus 370. I'd have to go back to look a couple years ago when they played in Phoenix. But the gap between, and this will tighten up before we get to kickoff all week next week. It'll tighten up. These will not be the exact odds by the time we get to kickoff. But the fact that Hurts is plus 370 and Mahomes is plus 110 to win MVP, that's a wider gap than it was a couple years ago. Remember, Jalen Hurts was playing a lot better football. There was an MVP case for him not too long ago. This year, he's coming off a great game, but overall was not playing well until the Commanders game, frankly. And he was sensational in the win against Washington. So maybe the gap tightens, but this is a wider MVP market, and maybe it just tells us how everybody's viewing these 2 quarterbacks going in. I think Saquon, Mahomes, and Hurts are the only 3 players that can win MVP. That's just my personal belief on the market. Yes, Travis Kelce's 18-1, Worthy's 30-1. If Worthy is going off, unless he has a bunch of runs as well, then Mahomes has big passing numbers, and I think Mahomes would win MVP. So I think 3 players, only 3 I could make a case for.
I'm trying not to get completely diluted by it, because my initial thought is, well, Vegas is telling you that there is a significant quality difference at quarterback here. And we already know Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. We know that. But how big of a gap exists? They're saying it's massive. If they're putting any player in between the 2 quarterbacks, they are telling you, not just based on odds, but just based on the people they put in between, including Saquon, that there's a big difference. I looked it up because my initial instinct was like yours too, where it's like, I don't know, like Jalen Hurts is playing all that well. They have asked him to do so little. They have J.J. McCarthy at Michigan him. That's what really stands out. He threw 180 less passes this year in only 2 less games. So less games, but 180 passes. I mean, we're going to throw 90 times for each of those 2 final games. He, as a result of that, threw way less interceptions, only threw 5 less passing touchdowns, even though he played 2 less games. Better yards per attempt, average yards per attempt, better yards per catch. Like, other than yards per game, statistically, this has weirdly been, in some of the advanced numbers, better than you think. I don't think the gap should be this wide. I do not think Jalen Hurts is in the same category as this, but Jalen Hurts deserves his rightful place somewhere amongst the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Somebody pointed out he's been in the league 5 years. He didn't even start that first year. So in 4 years as an NFL starter, he has been in the Super Bowl 2 years. If it weren't for Patrick Mahomes in the middle of a back-to-back campaign and an attempt to go back-to-back-to-back, people would be making a much bigger deal about a 26-year-old quarterback who's now already played in his second Super Bowl in such an early portion of his career. But yeah, I think the odds market's right. I do think that it's, Mahomes is S tier, and then you got to go down a tier or two to get to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I was trying to find the odds from Super Bowl 57, and I'll have to go back and look at some other notes because a quick Google search was pulling up, of course, everything Super Bowl 59. I was just curious what the exact odds were. I'd have to go back and look. I think I have a document somewhere that from the betting show or something. I was just curious what was the exact odds heading into that game in 57.
They like the Eagles as a favorite in that game, so Jalen Hurts odds are probably pretty good.
Yeah, I still think Mahomes was a slight favorite, but I want to say it closed at like minus 120, minus 110. Like minus 120 Mahomes, minus 110, or plus 105 for Jalen Hurts, something like that. Because in that game, if I remember right, that was when you still had pretty good odds on Kelsey to win MVP. Since then, we've known it's been nothing but quarterbacks as well winning this award. It's just so tough. And Barkley's the exception. It's why his odds are good. He's the one non-quarterback that actually could win it because he could have 190 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns and win it that way. Otherwise, I think it's got to be a quarterback that wins the MVP.
If you were going to bet on something that wasn't quarterback, I would just do like a corner.
No, defensive player?
I would do a corner. Like somebody who can have Malcolm Butler's play or have like 2 picks in the game, but one's a pick 6. Only a corner. I probably wouldn't even do a defensive lineman. What do you got to get to be a defensive lineman as MVP? Get 3 sacks and one's a strip sack that gets returned for a touchdown? It feels like it just takes like way too much.
I don't have to tell you that for 3 quarters, it looked like there was a chance Nick Bolton was in the running there.
Yeah, it also looked like Harrison Butker had an opportunity. Did I have those guys win it?
Of course. No, I told you. There's only 3 guys I would bet on. I'm saying not to waste your time, but if you're saying you got to take a defensive player, Nick Bolton is sitting there at plus 37,000.
Man, I can't.
$100 bet wins 37,000.
There you go.
Yeah, not doing that.
Are you nuts?
Drew says there you go.
I'm not placing it. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you this. I think you should only put money on Mahomes, Barkley, Hurts. We've established that. If you had to put money, as we said, a week and a half out from the game, on a non-QB or running back.
Chris Jones.
So Chris Jones is let's see, what would that be? $100 wins $6,000.
What would McDuffie get me?
McDuffie.
I know he's got like
probably
2
more.
career interceptions.
$100 wins 28,000. He's a guy. It's funny. He had no picks and then this year he's got 2 in his career, and then in the Super Bowl he's going to need like 2 picks and a pick 6.
Honestly, I should probably choose Jalen Watson. He's probably got more career pick 6s than
I was going to say,
McDuffie.
what does Trent McDuffie have to do, and what actually what
2
has to happen?
2 interceptions, and the pick 6 has to be basically to win the game,
in overtime.
Like the Malcolm Butler example that we've discussed. Like it would have to be
Jalen
Hurts and the Eagles. It's 3rd and 5 from the 8-yard line. They're marching down with 25 seconds to go, and he gets a pick 6 or something to seal the win. Like it's just so difficult to win as a non-quarterback.
Unlike any other awards market in which I think fatigue exists, they don't really do that for Super Bowl MVP. You got the stats, you got the stats. Congratulations.
Like, why do they even have?
They're not going to not give it to Mahomes because they're like tired of giving it to Mahomes.
Yeah. Some of these are just full out sucker bets. Like they have Matt Ariza on the board. Okay,
Matt Ariza.
He's what? Honestly, somebody.
You're going to put $1 of the show fund on Matt Ariza.
No. I mean, $10 wins $7,500. What is the scenario where a punter has any shot? The answer is there is no scenario.
He throws a game-winning touchdown on a
true.
The game would have to be 2-0, and he has to
no
down
scenario.
a punt at the 1-yard line to win the game.
No,
or something.
hold on.
I don't know. I'm dead serious.
Hold on.
That
They win 7. They win 7-6, and he fake punt passes,
and he runs for a
touchdown.
that actually is a better scenario.
It's just insane. Now there are people. Everybody. So he's in the same grouping as about 15 other players with those same odds. He has the same odds as Creed Humphrey, Peyton Hendershot, Juwan Taylor, Joe Tooney, and Carson Steele. If
I'm putting $1 show money, I might as well put it on Creed.
I guess. A center getting a pass is like not possible.
No, Creed can't be reported as eligible.
Creed created a 10 pancake block.
He's got to recover a.
They thought that's our guy.
It would have to be a low scoring game, and somehow Mahomes fumbles the ball like he did with Pacheco, but somehow Creed Humphrey has eyes in the back of his head, goes backwards, grabs the football, and runs for a 50-yard touchdown to win the game. Just stuff that's not ever happening in this world.
Or you have to, on the 1-yard line, do that 3 times.
Just craziness. Anyway.
Please. And I, always bet responsibly.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt.
Do not put money on Creed Humphrey.
Kareem Hunt is 60-1. That's such a long shot too.
What can I get for Watson instead of McDuffie? I'm thinking corners. I'm thinking
Jalen
picks.
Watson.
Yeah,
$100 would pay out $40,000.
okay. He's gotten a couple of pick 16.
And if you're wondering, since last year everybody thought Butker for a little bit had a real shot. Butker 100 would pay $20,000.
Butker's odds they're not good enough now.
It's Mahomes, Barkley, or Hurts.
Someone says, how about Nico Remigio if he has like a punt return for a touchdown or a couple of them or something?
Let's just do
like
this
that.
the rest of the show. You guys call in, and I'll just read off numbers.
Here's part of the problem. So you'd mentioned the three guys who were
Remigio is not on the. Is he on the board? He is. All right, sorry. Nico Remigio, who's been great on returns.
I'm guessing
$100 to win $60,000. He would need a return 2 for a touchdown.
I mean, he is a famous punt returner.
Probably to win it.
Nico Remigio, and this is obviously a pretty good sign of a good special teams. I can't think, but like one time all year, we have complained about or cared about the punting game. The kicking game has only done good things. Just blocking 70,000 field goals and being worried about Harrison Butker's range. Yeah. And reportedly before the game last week, he was hitting 60-yarders in pregame, so maybe he's fine. Kicking okay during games now all of a sudden, so it goes into this other thing. But yeah, I mean, just...
Our kicker has better odds than their kicker to win MVP, according to the odds markets. There you go. Anyway, next week we'll have some fun. There's a lot of some of you have texted in. There's a lot of fun, crazy props. It's a Super Bowl, right? So there's a ton of them out there.
Haven't you had an inside man on Gatorade color the last couple of years? You're not sharing with everybody?
Last year we
Don't you have an inside man?
Last year, no comments. Last year we hit on that.
You got Jonte Porter out here feeding.
Yeah, no kidding.
No
What's going on? Some like dude on the sideline.
No comment on that. Last year we did hit the
Cody,
Gatorade
didn't you
bet.
say you bet on the anthem?
I bet on the anthem a couple times over the years.
Yeah, but so on FanDuel here locally, you can't bet on the anthem length, I believe. I mean, there's a couple of them. I can't remember. Each state's a little bit different, but I believe that was one. What's weird is this is the last couple of years we've had to make bets before we flew out of town because we were in Vegas last year for the Super Bowl. In Vegas, the way
I got to go to the book.
Yeah, the mobile app stuff is not the same as what we have here. So and then in Phoenix it was a little bit different too. So this will be the first time where like I'll be able to truly live bet. You're like because in Vegas we were not able to live bet during the game.
No.
The way we had it set up. So
are you excited about that possibility?
I am. That's the one thing that I'm like, okay, well at least I have that. At least I have that.
You watching it from home? This is the first time you wouldn't have gone to a Super Bowl since the Tampa one.
Yeah. So
but of the four Super Bowls they were in previously, you were at 3 of the games.
My family's had watch parties all these years, and I'm just going to join in. They think I'm going to be a jinx now for going to the party.
You didn't do
so
it.
You're not going then?
No,
you're
I'm going.
Okay.
I'm told I have to go as well. It's at the same time I'm told I have to go. And it'll be fun. My nephews will be there and everything, and now the nephews are even older, so they really understand it. It'll either be a disaster when they lose because everybody will be in a bad mood, or it'll be another party. So we'll see. I have not been at a family watch party for a Super Bowl and one of the Chiefs have won. The only one I was with them watching was the Bucs, where at halftime we all knew it was over.
I just watched that one at home. Just me, the wife, the kids.
There you go. All right, up next, we'll continue our big game coverage. Let's talk about the Eagles head coach. Like, we know he's kind of a, arrogant SOB, but let's talk about where he's at in the coaching ranks at this point. That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Sight Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Sight Ford. So, Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Sight Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Sight Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Sight Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Sight Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Sight Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
At David's Bridal, love is in every stitch. From the initial sketch to the final details, each style is designed with exquisite craftsmanship. Every wedding gown, bridesmaid look, prom dress, and special occasion style in between features handcrafted details filled with love. Come see the magic in person. Book an appointment and sign up for Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER forward and back.
I was coined almost Andy Reid when I was on a radio show, and it's stuck with me ever since. Renner Garage Door can help you not get stuck out in the cold this winter. Book your annual maintenance or get a free replacement quote today.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We'll get to a bizarre press conference or two in the coaching world yesterday.
Some interesting moments.
I'm talking about Jacksonville. I'm talking about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. Boy, oh boy.
I didn't know it was like that for Jerry.
We'll have some. Yeah, I don't know, man. No, I promise you the audio we will eventually play is not doctored. 100% promise you.
That's a good tease, Cody.
Like,
I didn't know it was like that.
It's not doctored. That's all I'll say.
Wishing for the old days, and then there's like, I didn't realize those were the olden days.
Anyway, let's talk about Nick Sirianni, though. Nick Sirianni, we all know when he was in Kansas City the last time, they walked off the field as winners. It was a Monday Night Football game. MVS, that was the drop. Remember, that was that game. And he walked off, and he was barking at fans, and he went up the tunnel. He's like, see ya. You know, where are you at now or whatever, Chiefs fans? See ya. We have the audio. It's just distorted, so I don't want to play it because it's very loud and distorted. But we all know that sequence. They've played him in the Super Bowl. They beat him. He had the tears in the anthem and all that stuff. He got in arguments with his own fans this year. So take all that away for a second because he's very Philadelphia. He actually fits Philadelphia perfectly. He's perfect for their head coach. But if we're being honest, he's going to a second Super Bowl after only being the head coach there for, 4 years now?
Mm-hmm. They've made the playoffs all 4 years.
That's saying something. That puts you in a select group. Now, to ultimately get into the real conversation, in my opinion, of being like a top 5, top 7 coach, he needs to win the ring. Like I still am skeptical. What he did and was smart, and we've said this, whether it's football or any walk of life, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and better than you, right? That's typically a great philosophy if you own a business. Nick Sirianni had disastrous coaching staff last year. It almost fell apart on him completely. It almost cost him his job. Instead, he said, let me go get the right people. We lost our OCs a couple years ago. We went out, we promoted, and it didn't work out. So they get Vic Fangio, who's one of the most respected defensive minds in the game. Defense is turned around, just like that.
Instantly better.
Offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. A lot of people think he's still one of the bright young minds in the sport. Offense, at times, has been better. Saquon Barkley definitely helps that equation. What I'm getting at is, does Nick Sirianni need some more? Does Nick Sirianni need more praise, I guess? Do we view him, like the coaching edge is still Kansas City heading in this game, but that would be just about with any matchup.
So I think that he is closer to Andy Reid than the last matchup with Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott's never even been to a Super Bowl. And look, part of his issue is because he has to face Patrick Mahomes earlier than that. And I get your point on, hey, they got to get to a Super Bowl. But I feel like the way we talk about LaFleur, Shanahan, some of these other guys who I think are really good head coaches, McVay, who did win one, but some of these guys who are like great head coaches, some of the best head coaches in the NFL, I have leaned more towards them being better head coaches. And I'm having to shake I just think Sirianni is a massive a-hole.
Sure.
He sucks.
Yes.
He seems like a sucky dude. And so because of that, I have been wanting to discount him as a head coach. But if I look at the numbers, he deserves, rightfully so, to be listed amongst the top head coaches in the NFL. 4 years, 3 division titles, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 4 playoff appearances. Could you imagine? Like, other than getting what you get out of Andy Reid, I'm going to presume that's pretty much the third best run during the last 4 years at head coach of any coach. The only one that'd be better is probably Sean McVay, who's probably been in the playoffs 3 of the 4 years, but has a Super Bowl win and 1 appearance. 2 appearances, and he could still win this one. We don't know. 2 appearances, 4 playoff appearances. couple divisions. I mean, I guess he's like a top 5 to 7 coach.
He's not top 5.
I can't shake that he sucks.
I don't think he's top 5. And you're right, trying to balance like the dislike that I have for the person. I think with a ring, it becomes very difficult to not say he's not a top 5 coach. I just look, so he's got a very talented quarterback. I think the staff he put together, you're right, like you get credit for that. Now, someone points out, like you go back and we can ask people in Philly next week, Howie Roseman, their GM, who gets praised every 5 seconds.
One of the 5,
and he's very,
really.
very good. He was heavily involved in getting the coaching. Basically, that was part of the agreement to keeping Nick Sirianni, not firing him after last season. Was like, these are the coordinators we're bringing in. We're gonna go get these guys, and they did. So I think some of it is the GM actually was involved in the coordinator stuff. He has done a really good job with his football team. The first month of the season, it looked like things were going south on them, and that's where I give him actually probably the most credit for this year. If you go back and look how I think it was the first 5 weeks, they had a losing record, and you're like, oh boy, this is not recovered. And since then, we all know how they ended the season. They ended up as the number 2 seed in the NFC, and they just found themselves in another Super Bowl. So he deserves a lot of credit. I don't put him in like the top 3, top 5 category yet, but he is on a nice run right now, and we'll see. He gets a ring, and then everything changes. We know how quickly things change immediately. But he's perfect for Philly. Like his whole demeanor, I'm sorry, it's perfect for that. It would not work in a lot of cities. In Philly, he can get away with it. Frankly, that's his attitude is the attitude of a lot of people there. I don't have to. Every fan base has the outlier fan that's not a very good person. But how many
Chiefsaholic? But yes,
federal crimes. Yeah, I've seen more videos every year of Philly fans not just getting in fights in the stands. I'm not talking about that. That happens at every stadium. I just saw a video from the Commanders game where 2 Commanders fans were not doing anything, just walking out, and people were verbally like getting in their face and stole their hat as they're just calmly walking out of the stadium. The video of the I think it was not too long, a couple years ago, where Eagles fans were once again harassing an opposing fan. That's the fit of frankly that city. So I don't know. Let the trash talk begin. I can't stand Philadelphia.
No. Not at all. And I guess, as you said.
Arrogant East Coast sports fans, man. They're the worst. They are the
Other than like
worst.
New York, they're kind of the embodiment of that era. But yeah, I do think that I honest to God, think if you'd asked me before the season to rank out the head coaches because of the way it ended in Philly, I'd have had Sirianni like 20th. I'm not even kidding. I'd have been like, I don't know. He's like the 20th best head coach. He got like lucky that one year. They completely dismantled at the end of last year, and they're going to stink this year. And I'm like, oh, damn, they're back in the Super Bowl. Sirianni might be pretty good at this. There are coaches in this league I like, where I'm like, I like the personality, I like the coach, I think they're so good at it. It's like Kyle Shanahan and Reed and whatever. And then there's coaches I nothing, right? Like I don't really care what Dennis Allen was doing with his day.
That's your guy. That's your guy.
It nothings, right? Like I don't have any disregard for him. You don't matter in this equation. And then there are the few coaches in this league that I'm like, man, I don't like you. And Sirianni is one of those like 5 probably, right? Where you're like, I don't like your vibe, your energy, the way you talk to fans, the way you've complained, like the way you talked coming out of Arrowhead to see it. You're right. But it does kind of feel like, just like the worst version, like an SNL character version of a Philadelphia coach. Like somehow they created a character that was like the worst of them from a personality, from a fan base, and then molded him into their head coach. And I'll say this, like I saw the text and said, he doesn't get credit because he doesn't call offense or defense.
He doesn't.
I understand, but for me, and maybe this is like, despite that, he's gotten to 2 Super Bowls. I think the job of a head coach more and more every day is to delegate. I'm sorry. I don't think the head coach should be a GM. I don't think the head coach has to call plays. And he does, but I don't think you have to. Your job is to delegate. Like, that's your job as a head coach. You got a lot of moving parts. You're trying to keep an offense and a defense in line, special teams. You're trying to work with the general manager for roster needs. If you got to delegate play calling to somebody else, fine with me. Andy doesn't call defensive plays. Like, most coaches don't call both. Like, most coaches used to be GMs. We move off of that. It's just a really big job. That's all. I don't care if he doesn't call plays. His team wins. So him not having the arrogance, I guess, in this position to be like, well, I better call plays. That's always more concerning.
I think Big Dom doesn't get enough credit, man. Big Dom is a huge part. Big Dom always finds a way to find a camera, man. He's always on television. Anything going on, Big Dom's involved. He's the guy that keeps that whole thing together. He's assistant coach, basically. Security, but really he's more than that.
He's a big part of what they're doing.
Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com.
I know this was going to come up when we played Philly anyway, but because of the way it ended up going in that game against the Bills, and no, I could not take one more fan angle that hypothetically suggests the possibility that Josh Allen could be 2 inches further than he was marked, because again, not a single piece of camera evidence supports the idea to do it. Lee going to look at the tush push again? That final play, well, not final play, but that play at the 1 inch line between Philadelphia and the Commanders, in which their defensive player tried to jump offsides 17 times in a row in an attempt to, make them look bad, made me think that there's no way. And then the ref came in and started saying, if this behavior continues, you guys are all in big trouble. I'm going to turn the car around. If you do that again, they're going to look at it in the league office, aren't they? Like, they're going to look at this thing again. They're eventually going to ban it.
A couple years ago, I thought there was a real chance they would do it, but they didn't. It's a play that everybody has the ability to run. And while it's not an aesthetically pleasing play, that was my argument for getting rid of it. Like, typically the NFL gets rid of things that are not entertaining. But the Buffalo, we just found out this past week, the Bills, clearly it's not so easy to do, is it? They tried it. Josh Allen did not execute.
Philly.
Philly does something better than everybody else, and it is the tush push. They just do it. And this is even now post Jason Kelce era, and they still do it. And they played 2 centers on Sunday against the Commanders, and it didn't matter. That's just something that they excel at. I still think the key is Jalen Hurts. That's the difference. Yes, Josh Allen's a big quarterback.
An incredibly strong
Jalen Hurts
lower body.
has the strongest lower body of a quarterback in the league. Maybe some of the strongest in the league. Oh, and then you have Saquon Barkley, who I don't remember the exact number, but he can squat more than anybody else. So they have 2 individuals in the backfield that have the size of their thighs are as big as you'll ever find, like for an NFL player that doesn't play lineman or something. Like, it's insane. So the strength is incredible. But the sequence that happened there with the Commanders, I think, is interesting because you and I are on different sides of this. I guess we don't have the audio in the system, but basically the ref said after the Commanders players for a couple plays were intentionally trying to get the snap count time, but they were offsides. The refs said, basically, if you continue to do this, we have the ability to award a score. And so what was happening is they were already at the half-inch line, and half the distance of the goal, there is no half of the half of the half of the half of the half. Like, you're not going to, eventually there is nowhere to go, essentially. So it was delaying the game. Commanders fans are upset about this because ultimately the Eagles scored, but their thought is why can't we do this? Well, in the rules, there is ability. Basically, if you're delaying the game, if you're abusing sportsmanship or whatever, they can. That is true. They can award a score. That would have been so controversial if they would have done that, but it is in the rule book. Some people are saying that they should be able to do it. I have no problem with the rule existing. Now, I would do everything possible just to not. It would have to be. They would have had to do it for another 10 minutes for me to enforce it, but you can't let it happen nonstop. Otherwise, theoretically, the Commanders could just jump off sides for an hour straight, Cody. We'd be sitting here. The game would go on forever. There would be nothing preventing that from happening if the rule didn't exist. So Commanders fans are upset because they're like, hey, Eagles, just snap the damn ball. Yeah, but they have a time limit. They have to snap it within 40 seconds or whatever. That time limit does exist for them. So to me, this is on the Commanders. Ultimately, it didn't matter, but that rule has to exist for a reason. Otherwise, I could just delay the game. If you ever play a video game, if I'm playing you online even, and if I jump offsides 5 times in a row because I'd be delaying the game, they kick you out. The game's over. The NFL has a rule like that as well.
I argue that the Philadelphia Eagles were delaying the game as much as Washington.
How?
Just snap it. What are you trying to do? Draw them off sides with a hard count?
Yeah.
You're at the 1 millimeter line.
No, they want them to be unpredictable.
The ball physically can't get any closer. Just run the play, and either you win the play or you don't. They were abusing it just as bad as Washington, in my mind. Yeah. At one point, it became taunting when they're hard counting from the 1 millimeter line for the 17th time in a row. Just snap it. Do the tush push. You're better than anybody at it. Get your touchdown, and we all get to move on with our day.
The reason why
I'm not saying Washington should also just jump a billion times in a row, but if it's abusing sportsmanship, I'm tired of it. Just run the play.
Yeah, I totally disagree, man. There is a tush push play that timing is a big part of that, and you're trying to catch not even catch them off guard from what you're going to do, but they don't know when you're snapping the ball. You're acting like that the Eagles were just sitting there for 2 hours and waiting to snap the ball. There's a play clock.
Still running hard counts,
there's a play clock, though. I can take 40 seconds if I want. It doesn't allow me, and if I don't snap it in 40 seconds, then I get to delay a game. Like that rule, what you're saying that they shouldn't be able to do, there's a rule so they can't do what you're worried about they would be doing. They're in the confines of the game, the constraints of the game, whereas the Commanders potentially in the rule, if for another 10 plays they would have intentionally jumped off sides, they could have awarded a score. I have no problem with that. They fortunately did not do that.
That would have been bad.
It would have been bad. And could you imagine if this was the Chiefs were involved in this? Oh my gosh.
No, that's the whole thing. That play ends up getting lost in the notion because the national discourse continues to be Josh Allen got the first down, ignoring any other play that existed inside of the entire scope of the game. I'm just saying, I think there was a point when it felt like they were doing it intentionally to taunt Washington. Like,
well, I think it's because Washington.
You can't get offsides.
I think it's because Washington stopped them 2 out of the.
Yeah, they had a harder time.
Yeah, they stopped them. Where I think that they felt they needed to do something maybe to try to get a little bit more of an advantage.
I mean, they were on the millimeter line. And I know that Gruden had maybe said this in the post game about Josh Allen for like a Bills fan that was complaining about it. If you can't get that, even if you snap it normal, I'm sorry you don't have an unstoppable play all the time. And then occasionally a team might actually stop you. You don't have to just stand there on the half-yard line trying to move it 1 centimeter closer for the next 10 years.
No, but just because they're using a hard count there doesn't actually mean they think they're getting them to jump off. It's that you're not trying to allow the Commanders to know that, like, hey, 5 seconds into the play clock at the line of scrimmage, we're always snapping it. You're trying to make them sit around. Like, they're lined up. Am I snapping it in 5 seconds? Am I snapping in 30 seconds? That's the advantage you're trying to get there. There still has 40 second. There's still a 40-second clock that they have to snap the ball. That's why I have no issue with the Eagles. This sounds like sour grapes from Commanders fans on their side of it, just like upset about that they got caught trying to do something and they were on the verge of potentially getting a massive penalty for doing it. It essentially would have been delay a game on the defense, but to an even extreme point.
On the 160 said, Cody has kids. He knows procrastination. I understand this. Just go to bed. You don't need a glass of water or this other thing.
Like, you're basically saying that you want you can do a hard count 3 times. After that, you have to snap the ball. You can't do a hard count more than twice. Like, that's what that'd be like. If the Chiefs got the Eagles to jump off sides in the Super Bowl, and people would argue like, Mahomes, he waited to snap the ball too long. We got to change the rule. That's essentially what you're arguing.
I'm saying he's doing exactly what we're accusing Washington of doing.
Delaying
the game. No. He is intentionally delaying the game. He could have just snapped.
He's not intentionally making a penalty
15 times in a row.
He's not intentionally having a penalty though. Jalen Hurts is not committing a penalty by going hard count. The Commanders are committing consecutive penalties by jumping off sides. That's the difference. One is breaking the rule.
Slowing down the game.
One is breaking the rule. One's not.
Technically, you just said like sportsmanship to slow down the game. I would argue the Eagles were doing that.
So no hard counts. Got it. No hard counts. Got it. That's what you're saying. He is within the confine. He is within the constraints of the game.
I think if it's inside the millimeter, we can probably just go ahead and stop.
They're not trying to get a penalty, though. They're trying to keep the opponent off balance of when I'm going to snap the football.
What would be more egregious, Cody, is if they just decided to run the tush push for an entire drive. Like, hey, we're going to get 3 yards here. We'll get 3 yards here. We'll get 3 more yards.
Awful.
Then we'll get 3 more yards.
That would actually get rid of it, honestly, in fairness.
It would.
That would completely get rid of it. Looking forward to the tush push in 2 weeks.
I know. I'm going to see it a lot.
Can't wait.
Going to see it a lot. Hey, the Chiefs have faced it before. When it was more of, Jason Kelce was involved, and I have to go back and look at that game. They had success with it throughout the entire game. I mean, when they did tush push, I don't think the Chiefs stopped them.
No.
The key is, of course...
It's a hard play to stop.
The key is, of course, preventing them from getting inside the 3-yard line, inside the 2-yard line. Can you somehow keep them out of inside the 5? Or that's the key of the game. Honestly, if we're going to simplify the matchup, can the Chiefs force 3rd down and goals from the 5 instead of the 2?
Yeah, I'd say that's. It's not. It's one of the more important things certainly to doing it. There were some weird moments yesterday in the NFL.
Oh man,
and I'm not sure which one is weirder, so I would like to let the people decide. 913-586-7965. Liam Cohen was announced as the Jagheads coach, and Jerry Jones was talking about Brian Schottenheimer being named the Cowboys head coach. We're going to play 2 pieces of audio. We would like your opinion on the matter. 913-586-7965. Which of these 2 things is a more troubling sign for the future head coach of either the Jaguars or the Cowboys? Which one do you play first? You want to play Liam?
Let's do Liam Cohen. Yeah, Liam Cohen. He's the new head coach of the Jags. We all know he took the job. He didn't take the job. was back with the Bucks, then decided to go back to the Jags, all this kind of stuff last week. So he was being introduced. This was at the press conference. We know that they're in Duval County, right? Duval County, Florida. So they've got their Duval chant, and, he gave it a go.
Duval.
The video's even, like, more awkward.
He looks uncomfortable.
Duval.
He looks like Duval. His eyes are going all Adam Gase. Did he know how weird he was going to look when he said it that way? And nobody says it that way in the fan base. I think that's important to note. It'd be like, Chiefs Kingdom. Like, nobody says it that way.
He was trying to say it quietly.
Now, there's a video of him on their social media when he's in the team room, and he actually is way more, it sounds way more natural and, like, not awkward. For whatever reason, when he was in the suit and he was at the podium, I don't know if he just got nervous or was trying not to.
Or something.
Duval.
That is his Dan Campbell. That's his Dan Campbell, Adam Gase, like, opening press conference moment. It could either mean nothing or it could be a sign of things to come. Because everybody made fun of Dan Campbell for the biting the kneecaps comment.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
And obviously he's turned out to be pretty darn good as a head coach. Adam Gase, meanwhile, Mr. Wandery Eyes was a disaster. So I don't know. This could go either way, guys. Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jags. Then in Dallas.
First, they went with Brian Schottenheimer, which is objectively funny anyway, right? That they just hired the OC from the guy that they didn't want to hire before, and it doesn't even seem like they really want this guy. Jerry Jones just wants to look smart. But I think it's important what you had said. Before we play this clip, both of us would like to make it very clear. This clip is not doctored.
Nope.
It is not edited down.
I promise.
Or this is just what he had to say about what to expect from Brian Schottenheimer.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
Hold on, what?
Excuse me?
That is smiles and glory holes.
Do you think that's what he meant to say?
Glory days? I'm guessing. I'm hoping.
What kind of childhood did Jerry Jones have?
Do you follow that up with a question? Do you ask?
No, you have to just let that one go. You don't follow up with the question.
Do you ask?
Hey, Jerry, just want to clarify. You said glory holes. Did you mean glory days?
Jerry, you said that there aren't enough times in life where smiles and glory holes exist. Is that what you meant to have said?
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
I mean, look, I'll be pretty...
Cowboys fans, I mean...
I'm sorry.
There's so many reasons why you guys are screwed. Jerry Jones is the biggest reason.
In fairness,
that clip
at least
is funny,
Schottenheimer
but
saying these
Brian
things.
Schottenheimer, it's not even his fault, but he should not be a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's not his fault that he's being offered the job. Of course, he's accepting it.
Jerry Jones said it was his biggest risk, or one of his biggest risks.
It's they're a mess, and until the Jones family's not involved, which will never happen, the Cowboys are screwed. It's why they have the longest NFC drought, but making the postseason. Or
but
making
they'll be
the
better
Super
with
Bowl.
a person who is at least has mental capacities, right? I mean, no, come on, dude. At some point,
I don't know about that.
Dude, how old is Jerry Jones?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there's no scientific evidence to suggest you have less mental capabilities at 80 than you do at 40 years old. Yeah, that's never happened.
Whether 80 or whether he was 60, he should not have been as involved in these decisions as he has been.
I think, okay, so...
he also went on like a 12-minute rant when he was asked about Brian Schottenheimer at one point. Like it was a specific question, and he talked for 11 minutes and told a story about Marty Schottenheimer.
Said osmosis. None of it made any sense.
In fairness, from the 816, glory hole is also an oil and gas term. We know Jerry Jones, oil and gas.
I understand, but that is not. I'm sorry. You say glory hole in a press conference, okay? I'm sorry, people. This is not just us being middle school children. This is everybody's first thought. Come on now.
As someone over on YouTube said, I live in Dallas. I think I may have some T-shirt ideas for some of these Cowboys fans.
Sorry,
not all smiles and glory holes, you know?
Let me be honest. So for that texter, if I would have said randomly on this show, if I would have said that, you would have thought I was talking about oil and gas.
No, because you're not involved in oil and gas. At least Jerry's involved in oil and gas. I don't know if I'm trying to make an excuse for him, but also,
yes, you are.
If you're Brian
smiles and glory holes.
If you're Brian Schottenheimer, so. If you're Brian Schottenheimer, you're sitting next to Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones points at him and says, "This is one of my biggest risks." How does that make you feel if you're Brian Schottenheimer? I know that you're the Cowboys head coach, it's great, but for the owner of the Cowboys to sit next to you, point to you, and say, "This is one of my biggest risks," I don't know how that would make me feel.
Yeah, it did not in the press conference. You're like, it didn't seem like he. Are we sure he really wanted to hire Brian Schottenheimer? It was really weird. It definitely was. So there you go. We've got a new drop thanks to Jerry Jones and thanks to Liam Cohen.
Duval.
Up next, we get to the 11 o'clock hour. We're going to talk more about how this team has been assembled through the draft. Why they're able to be going for a three-peat is because of one particular draft class. We'll highlight that next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, beyond the surface.
Is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Jewelrygram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with a natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Missouri sports fans, I've got great news for you. Underdog is available to play in your state. With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all of your favorite athletes' performances. And with their Champs game, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats. And they've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. With Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn them into a W. Recently, I won $98 on Underdog. Sign up and deposit now with promo code BOB to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, you'll get an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Are you tired of the hassle of finding parking at the airport? I've got the solution for you. Park and Go, your go-to airport parking destination with all covered parking. They've got you covered, literally. Park and Go is not just about protection, it's about convenience too. Their quick shuttle services get you directly to the airport terminal. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7, fast and hassle-free. Reserve your spot today at at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. Many people consider selling their homes independently to save on real estate commissions. While this might seem appealing, especially in today's market, independent sellers often overlook the significant financial benefits of working with a professional. Collaborating with an expert like Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, can greatly enhance your profits and overall experience in the selling process. So contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. You can Google Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com.
Ad paid for by RFA Cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-790-9617. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-790-9617. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-790-9617. That's 800-790-9617. Again, 800-790-9617.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned. Open to all. Invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. Fesco and Dusty live from New Orleans all next week for Super Bowl 59, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
People were requesting certain mashups after our last conversation around Jerry Jones. They wanted us to put together Drew from Twin Peaks saying fantastic with Jerry Jones.
Oh, this should be something.
Jerry Jones talking about oil and gas.
Smiles and glory holes.
Fantastic. There you go. 11 o'clock hour.
He's saying it's not fantastic. There's not enough of it anymore.
Drew's saying that is fantastic.
Settle down.
I don't know. Hey, we don't. What do we say on the show, Cody?
Mm-hmm.
We don't shame. We don't shame. Whatever you got, whatever you like, we don't shame.
Play the Jerry Jones part real quick.
Just the Jerry Jones.
This will be worth it, yes.
Okay, all right.
Smiles and glory holes.
Oh my goodness!
That was 10 times worse.
I don't know if that's even.
We can play all kinds of drops on this show.
Yeah, I don't know if that's technically. I don't even know if that one's allowed.
Hard to say.
I don't know. If that's
just two people playing two different cuts at a different time, unrelated to each other. Next up,
I do not know.
Cody and Gold.
Let's talk about this Chiefs football team, who, of course, would not be in the position they're in without the draft class, in particular, 2022 draft class. It's one thing to win a Super Bowl. Teams have been one and done, but to sustain success in the climate financially where the league is, even though the salary cap goes up, you have to draft. Plain and simple, you have to continue to reload the roster. Sure. That's why ultimately this offseason, I don't think they're going to be able to pay Trey Smith because you can't usually pay a position like that kind of money. Same with linebacker.
Not if you paid your center and currently pay your left guard.
Yeah,
and
your right tackle.
Pay a tackle.
And you already paid your right tackle and Juwan Taylor. The reason why they're going for a three-peat is because of the names I'm about to list off from a 2022 draft class. This is insane. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Brian Cook. All three of those guys are contributors. One of them's an all-pro. The other one's a pretty damn good pass rusher. Sky Moore, I understand that one's probably the one of the bunch you would say disappointing. Chanel, my goodness, 2 block kicks this year. Has been such an impactful
freak
player.
Athlete.
You have Josh Williams, who, due to injury and stuff, been playing having to play a lot.
Plays third, fourth corner.
Darian Kennard, not on the team. That's the one.
Okay. He's a 5th rounder.
Jalen Watson.
Starting
corner.
We're
talking about how impactful he is.
Sorry, I have Joshua Williams on there twice.
I was saying, it was funny. I was like, I don't think there's 2 Williams.
No.
And then Najee Johnson and Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay, so if there's no other draft class, and there's other good picks, right? Creed Humphrey the year before, or Carla, or like last year, obviously in the draft in 2024, they don't have a ton of starters out of there, but Xavier Worthy is a big impact player. The 2022 draft class might be the single biggest reason why they have a chance for a three-peat. Starting all-pro corner, starting Pro Bowl level defensive end, rotational to starting safety. Cook pretty much starts. Williams is your rotational corner. Watson is a starting corner. Pacheco splits time at starting running back. And Najee Johnson is, forgot half the year a starting corner, and now at the very least a rotational corner. That's, what, a third of your entire starting 22 from a single NFL draft class? Okay, take a bow, Brett Veach, because I'm not sure any of this three-peat is possible without that draft class specifically.
It's not this kind of success, not to the point where we're talking about them maybe being the greatest dynasty of all time if they get a three-peat, 5 trips to the Super Bowl in the last 6. None of that exists without the class. And you're right, it's not just Trent McDuffie who's an all-pro, but even the different roles, like the different role players that are involved there. I know right now we think Kareem Hunt's more effective than Pacheco, but we all know how important Pacheco's been during this run as well. And right now, Jalen Watson is a big reason why I think they were able to have success against Buffalo just this past weekend. It's what they're going to need big time against A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. They can't just have Trent McDuffie.
No.
And then Najee Johnson, I understand there's been frustrating moments, but still from a depth perspective, they've needed every snap they've got from him this year too, even though Jalen Watson's a better football player. So it's remarkable. Like that's a class you don't replicate though. Like that's not the norm. Okay.
No.
Look at this past year.
There's like 2 players.
This past year, yeah. Xavier Worthy and Jaden Hicks are the 2 right now. We'll see. Maybe Kingsley eventually becomes a guard for this team and ends up being a pick that for a second rounder everybody can stomach.
Not
right
good
now,
that we already
right
said
now, no,
becomes a guard for this team.
Well, that's where it's trending, Cody. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. No, I absolutely do. But it's just a troubling sentence.
Sure.
Right? It's
at least he was a second rounder, not a first.
It allows him the possibility. Look, last year, right? Felix hasn't really. He's playing like 10 snaps a game, but Rasheed certainly looked like the goods. And Wanye, for a third-round pick, no, he's not a starter, and usually third-rounder up, you'd like to do it, but he's giving you starter snaps this year. Jamari Connor plays for this team. Like, yeah, there's not stars in every single pick, but that 2022 year, if every 2, 3, 4 years you can just have the year, well, then it doesn't matter.
What's the theme,
just as long as you
with
can
that?
have that, then it doesn't matter.
In the years where they've had great draft classes, what's the theme, though? And it seems so simple.
Had a lot of picks?
Had a lot of picks, man.
I was like,
had a lot of picks.
Had a ton of picks?
It sounds so simple. Give me some.
Doesn't matter if you miss on Sky Moore if you've got.
Yeah, give me some more.
3 7s and 2 hits.
Some more darts to throw out the dartboard, man. And I got a better opportunity, whatever analogy you want to use. That's a real thing. It's why. We just talked about the Eagles with Howie Roseman. That's why they've also had success. They've had a ton of picks stockpile. They've done well acquiring picks. The Chiefs, we'll see if they are willing to package picks this year to move up or not. But if not, we know they have 2 third-round picks. One's very early on in the 3rd round, thanks to the Tennessee Titans and the L'Jarius Sneed trade. So that's when they've been their best. It makes a ton of sense. It gives you more ability to move up in the draft, but I get 10 chances to make a pick instead of 7. The odds of me hitting on 2 or 3 are greater. Just simple stuff.
Yeah. I mean, odds are always in your favor in that regard, but that is a particularly impressive draft. Like, of those players, this is always the question, I feel like. The sign of a really good draft pick versus, like, a good draft pick doesn't have to qualify in this. I think you can get your value out of a guy you don't re-sign. The sign of a really good draft pick, like a great draft pick, is would you like them back on another contract? Trent McDuffie. Yes.
Wow, obvious. I mean, to me, I think McDuffie's priority number one this offseason.
Karlaftis. Yeah, I would like back on a second contract. Will it work out? We'll see, right? But would I want Watson back at the right price? Yeah. Would I there are 3-4 players on this list that if the price is right, I would want back on a second contract. And plenty of other people, and he was not even, that was probably that same offseason, but that wasn't even a part of the draft. And so, for me, once you start looking at these things, you understand just how good. The Sky Moore move, because of how good this draft is, it's actually one of those players that, and look, I'm disappointed in the pick because it hasn't worked out, but I don't care. I felt like, and this is probably just the way the game flow works, when teams are playing poorly and even goes in, I wish I was lying. I think I saw 10 different people tweet at me during the Chiefs game being like, this defense is Brett Veach's fault. That's why they're no good. I'm like, are you nuts? Are you nuts? Do you know how many people would kill for a single draft class like this? Most teams would probably take this over a 2-year span. If I offered you all these players as productive members of your team over a 2-year span, Gold, you'd probably take this, wouldn't you? If one draft class was McDuffie, Cook, Chanel, and Pacheco, and the other one was Karlaftis, Williams, Watson, and Scott.
Yeah, but of course,
take that.
Probably, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's not
Nazi, not Sky.
Just say if I tell you there's a draft class that includes players like McDuffie and Karlaftis, you already are taking it. Those are two. I mean, it doesn't even matter what would have happened the rest of the draft, and they had all these other selections. That draft, the reason why they had a ton of picks is they traded Tyreek Hill, and I'm not saying they got to trade a star player, but the point is, you go to the Patriots dynasties that they had. We say two because they were really two dynasties. They were willing to sometimes make the tough trade, make the tough decision. Maybe it involved a player walking, but also they would make trades that at the time everybody freaked out about. Like, how are they going to? There's no way without Tyreek Hill they can win. What have they done? They won. They're going to They're going to a third Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill. It's ridiculous at this point. And so I think that will be interesting in the offseason. I don't think they have any real trade candidates, but stockpiling picks some form. They did, last year, that's what they did with the Snead trade, and that's what allows them to have an extra pick this year. We'll see what they decide to do ultimately with those picks. If they feel they need to package them to go get a left tackle in the future, that's an offseason conversation. But Brett Veach and what they've been able to accomplish through the draft is the biggest reason why it's been sustained. Yes, Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to get all the recognition I totally get for executing, but the dynasty length only exists because of the picks of Brett Veach.
I think it's really important to note what you mentioned about left tackle. I think is what gets lost about being a general manager because of the constraints of the salary cap and everything else that exists in the NFL to try to even the playing field, even though it's just the Chiefs who go to the Super Bowl every year, but an attempt to even the playing field if you had any quarterback that wasn't named Patrick Mahomes. You're like, well, how are they so bad at left tackle if he's such a great GM? First, nobody, and that includes Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, hits on 1,000%, right? Nobody is 100% success rate in any job. We don't do 100% great shows. Andy Reid doesn't call 100% great plays. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in your work or anyone else's work. That's not a thing. I would ask you the broader question, which is how many areas of this team do you think are a genuine liability? I would also point out that the roster he built has been good enough to go to 3 consecutive Super Bowls and 5 of the last 6. So I'd say his roster building's okay. Last year, their biggest weakness was wide receiver. They fixed it. It's not their biggest weakness this year. It's actually one of, I would argue, their biggest strengths. Left tackle is their biggest issue on the team this year. Okay, do I think it'll be their biggest issue next year? No. It'll probably be defensive line or corner or safety or some other position because it's a rotating thing in the NFL. You can solve your problems. There's only so much money to go around. You can't solve all your problems at the same time.
We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 6 minutes or so on Cody and Gold. Don't forget, coming up a little bit later on today, we'll be joined by Nate Taylor. He's going to join us an hour earlier. Nate Taylor from The Athletic, our Chiefs insider, around 12:05 will join us here on 96.5 The Fan. A huge reason why the Chiefs find a way offensively to get peak output in the playoffs, why it seems like the offense throughout these last couple playoff runs have looked their best. Some of it has to do with the decision-making on fourth down, not just play design, where it was a masterclass from Andy Reid and Matt Nagy in terms of designing specific plays, formations that they hadn't used much during the season, and they got some good looks off of it. They used the same formation twice. They ran it one time on a counter. The other time it was the QB run for Mahomes on both were touchdowns. I mean, genius stuff that the Bills had not seen on film. But Andy Reid's willingness to go for that fourth down on his own side of the field early. In the regular season, he just doesn't do it. Just doesn't do it. In the playoffs, he turns the meter up a little bit. Aggressive meter goes up. And at that time, the momentum, I know it seems weird now, so many different things happen, but at that time, the Bills had all the momentum, and you were about to punt it right back. Mm-hmm. And so that they call a timeout, and yeah, in our group chat, we were texting. It's like, did they just really call a timeout just to punt the ball? Because in the regular season, they did.
Yeah.
But no, they came back out. They had a play they liked. It was a quarterback run. They were willing to run Mahomes more. We know he more individually on non-design plays is willing to run more and put his body on the line. The Chiefs are willing to design some QB runs in the postseason when the stakes are so high. Not in week 3. Who cares? No, not risking my quarterback's health in week 3. We're not doing that. No, we're going to save it for when it matters, and it gets into a Super Bowl.
The way I look at it is, I don't think it's an accident that the Chiefs spent the entire year essentially never scoring 30 points. And in the first game in which they are willing to do what every other high-level offense does in the NFL to get to 30 does, they get there. I now think of them as a 30-point scoring offense because the increased likelihood of them going for a 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and goal from the 2, all of above, is going to increase their point total the way the math tells us it will. When you couple that with the fact that Andy Reid has got to be one of the best play callers in the NFL and one of the best play designers in the NFL in those situations, the biggest plays of the game on Sunday night, I think the 2 third downs when they needed to kneel at the clock just to make sure Josh Allen did not get one more crack. Beautiful play designs. Got both running backs wide open. The running touchdown by Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce's the lead. The rush to convert the 4th and 1 that we talked about previous. All the biggest plays, Andy Reid called the ones that he knew in his brain had a 100% success rate just as long as they were executed. The increased amount of 4th and down means I think they're scoring 30 again in the Super Bowl because this amount of aggressiveness is why I have so much more confidence in this offense. They just got more points on the board now. You, if the Eagles, have to score more than you did in the regular season to beat them.
I think at Buffalo, how they're feeling, is that to beat the Chiefs for the first time in the playoffs, they think they got to get to 42 points or something like that because it's not enough otherwise. And
didn't they get to like 41 since
the 13-second game, right? Wasn't that? What was the score on that one?
Game?
I don't remember what the final. Went to overtime too, so I think the Chiefs got into the 40s in that one, didn't they?
I would think so.
Point being, I'm kind of with you that it'll be interesting to see. Now, the Eagles' defense is better than the Bills' defense. It just is. Like, we'll have all next week to kind of break that kind of stuff down.
42 to 36. They did not get to
42. They need 43.
They needed to get to 43.
But I'm with you. I think the Bills' defense is not nearly as good as what they're going to see against the Eagles. And that'll be the 2 week of prep and adjustment, like the defensive front for Philadelphia. Jalen Carter against Mike Caliendo, that's a problem on paper going in. We'll see, But the secondary for Philly is much better than the Bills. That'll be the adjustment. That's why I hear what you're saying. I early look, something tells me it's a little lower scoring game than people think, but we'll see, right? 2 weeks is going to be.
Is the total already out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the total's out.
In the 40s somewhere?
I think it's the same as this past week, 49.5.
Okay.
Right now, on January 28th, a week and a half before the Super Bowl, right now my gut is under, but we'll see.
Lean. Yeah. It's lean. Huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Not officially giving a prediction yet?
No.
Okay,
too early for that. I have not placed a single Super Bowl bet yet.
It is, though. Like, sometimes if you get that in early, sometimes you get the better number.
For sure. If it depends on what side you're on, though. If you think it's going up, then obviously take the over now. If you think it's going down, wait.
How am I supposed to know? Just guess? I'm kidding.
Yeah, if you like the over, this game we all know is bet on more than any other sporting event in the world. And so when you have more casual fans betting, casual fans in the public typically likes favorites when they're not the Chiefs. And
which is nuts because the Chiefs is favorites.
And they like points. It's hard for the casual bettor to be like, I'm rooting for not many points. That's just not the natural reaction for most people. So
I got called. I placed I was over on Underdog, and I was betting lower on some NBA totals last night. Paid off, by the way, by a half point, thank God.
Nice.
Kevin Durant missed a free throw that was beneficial to me.
Nice.
But I got called a hater for betting an under from a fellow person. And they're like, you're a hater. Betting unders is for haters. I was like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't feel like someone's getting 26.
But that's what you just said is exactly what I mean. The casual fan, the public rarely bets unders. It doesn't mean that but they rarely bet, because that's not fun. Basically, that's what your buddy that texted you, giving you a hard time, is like, that's not fun. And that's it. People are more likely
rooting for missed
people are
shots
more likely to bet
bench.
over on bets than unders. Like whether it's Travis Kelce overs or under, like ignore the fact that Kelce had prior to last week 14 straight playoff games. In general, if I tell you a certain player over under 50.5 yards, and we surveyed 100 people, the gut reaction is to take the over for a lot of people. It's just not fun to take unders, and that'll get you a lot of times. But that's why somebody probably texted you that way. All right, let's get to the trash.
Trash of the day.
I was just trying to win.
Yeah, that is how you're supposed to play.
And have fun.
All right, let's go to Savannah, Georgia. A Georgia man is trying to get a refund for something he purchased. Now, I don't know. Like, I've never bought everything off of Temu or whatever it's called, but I have the app. And
I haven't.
I'm just like...
You have the app?
Yeah,
I have bought something off of Temu, yes.
I have the app, and I'm like, this seems like complete junk. And so I have never actually ordered anything. But y'all have heard of like AliExpress or whatever?
Sure.
Or DHgate. Anyway.
It's kind of like that, yes.
So,
all the same.
A gentleman named Sylvester Franklin decided it was time for some new tools. So he went on to AliExpress, ordered a drill, among a few other items. He did not get what he paid for, Cody.
Oh, no.
He said, quote, they sent me this, and he's holding up a picture. Yeah, instead of the actual drill, he received a printed picture of the drill he ordered. He says more items in the order were incorrect. He paid... Now, this is what I mean by you have to know it's junk. Now, you should still get the junk item.
You also have to read the
$22.47 for a pressure washer, and this is what I get. He said it's a screw. He paid $22 for a pressure washer, and they gave him a screw. He's been going back and forth with AliExpress since he ordered the items in November, still has not received a refund. And it goes on to get into more detail about stuff. But he said he's been trying to get his money back. They tried to get a charge back from his bank without any success. He spent around $40, but he wants others to take a lesson from his story. So
Temu is more reliable than AliExpress.
Is it?
Is it? Yes.
How are you going to order a drill and they just send you a photo of a drill?
No,
that's messed up.
I've ordered from Temu.
What have you ordered?
I need to pull up the app. I don't remember. It was a while ago.
The only app I have on my phone right now is I have DHgate. I don't have Temu on my phone. I have DHgate.
The only things that I've ever ordered from DHgate or AliExpress is I got a Steph Curry Davidson jersey.
Yep.
Jerseys are the play.
Like how?
At AliExpress
what's
or
the
DHgate.
quality we're talking here?
Good enough.
Like the Marcus Peters jersey in our Cody Gold garage sale last year, that was from AliExpress.
I will say this.
Okay.
You do.
I wasn't a bad jersey.
You do need to be very careful, though, when you do order from AliExpress or DHgate if you order jerseys, because there's one that circulated around when I was getting the Steph Curry jersey, a Jason Kidd California jersey, because he went to Cal. California is spelled wrong on the jersey. Common thing with the patches to be a little bit messed up.
Though? I think that's just a... I don't think you get a request a refund in that spot. You're buying it from there.
You know what
you're risking that Curry is spelled Cury. I feel like you're taking your own chances there. You happen to get the one where the stitching's good and the name's spelled right. Kudos to you.
Okay, so
you've accomplished it. You want the one to look good. And actually, in fairness, there was a different company who was having a hard time with that for a while. Remember, the big manufacturer of sporting goods here was sending out some misspelled things. At least they didn't get a refund.
From the 816, someone says their brother is a Temu guy. He loves it. He's ordered all kinds of bleep.
Temu's a lot better.
Some of it works. Some of it's good. Some of it's crap.
The quality isn't necessarily the greatest, but that's where you don't spend. I would never order a drill from any of these places. I would never do that.
Yeah, there's certain items I'd be worried about it exploding too. There's I think I saw on one of these sites there was like a snow blower or whatever. I mean, I'm worried that thing's just going to explode in my hand.
Yeah, don't order that from Temu.
No, I want the real.
I just feel like the stuff on there. I mean, the joke is that they have couches on there, and they're actually like Barbie-sized couches. That's
furniture.
That's the joke, and that people have gotten that. So no, I've never ordered anything off of there, but
I'm trying to pull
a lot of it looks like junk. They'll have knockoff, all kinds of stuff.
I'm trying to log in to see what I ordered.
I will say, sometimes I feel like you got to know the deal's too good. Over on Twitch, someone said that they work with disputes or whatever. And they said somebody ordered a 12 by 12 by 12 shed. So that's a huge shed. Shed.
Okay.
And said it was $70 including shipping. Like, no offense. No offense. You deserve to lose that $70.
Okay, so
you're not getting a 12 by 12 shed with freight shipping for $70.
So the things
that's not an available deal.
So those they're like containers, but they're for like clothes, like they're like zip up storage boxes, storage bins essentially, where you can put clothes in or whatever. That's what I've ordered for Temu. Those are great.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fine.
Those things are what you order. You don't order.
I mean, the plastic probably has like aspresbus or something, but you're probably.
I would not order any. I would not order any like food store. I would not order. He's right. He's right though. I would not order any food storage or utensils off of any website like that.
There's a vacuum cleaner right here for $46. Do not order a vacuum cleaner.
That thing's going to explode. I think it might explode on you.
Yeah. Certain things you just don't order from those places.
That is the trash of the day here on Cody and Gold. Up next, let's get back to the Chiefs and the Chiefs Red Half Hour, a matchup that I'm sure we'll talk plenty more about next week, but I think this is going to be one of those fun ones to watch in the Super Bowl. We'll tell you what that one is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
When this football run began a couple years back, we were up in St. Joe for training camp. And what were we driving? Well, we were driving a brand new red truck, thanks to my friends over at Max Motors. And if you're still driving that same vehicle now that they're looking for a three-peat, perhaps it's time for you to drive a new vehicle as well. And I'll tell you what, Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. And right now, if you're looking for a new truck, new 2024 Ram 2500s are up to $16,000 off MSRP. Stock number C240005. Or new 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4 starting at $24,995. Stock number 80238. And as always, Max Motors are going to take the time to sit you down and explain the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment will be. That's the kind of attention and care that they're going to give you when you walk into a Max Motors dealer. See dealer for details. And don't forget, Max Motors is your Midwest dealer. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. I'm talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible with no downtime. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain doesn't get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program.
It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to Truehold while its value is high. You bag all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And Truehold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a Truehold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. Truehold.com.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on your every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Put a sheet on or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Put a sheet on maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
In the dynamic world of programmatic ad buying, Viant is your ultimate CTV partner. Target with precision. Buy with confidence. Viant empowers you with AI-driven technology that reaches your audience where they engage most, ensuring your message hits home. And the campaign results? Transparent, thanks to Viant's advanced measurement suite. For media buyers who demand the best, Viant delivers. Viant, elevate your CTV campaign performance.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love.
Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Who is the area's only dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
So there's a ton of great matchups in this Super Bowl coming up next week. We know we'll have all next week as well to break this down. We'll get a Philly perspective. Dusty and Bob are going to be down in New Orleans, providing all kinds of content as well. One of the fun matchups, just two studs, are going to be McDuffie and Brown. Trent McDuffie against A.J. Brown. Like, the defensive line will be a key thing. That's not as sexy to talk about. It's not
versus
Caliendo versus Carter. Okay, Caliendo Carter. That
scares me a little.
It's a huge matchup. That's not going to be on the billboard, okay? No. Brown, McDuffie might get some billboard treatment. That's a fun matchup. A.J. Brown is incredible. Trent McDuffie is incredible, all-pro corner. We know the physicality that A.J. Brown has. That's where I wonder how they'll treat it. Will it be McDuffie, A.J. Brown, or is it actually McDuffie, Devonta Smith, and it's Jalen Watson, A.J. Brown?
As we continue, of course, our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. No, I mean, I think that this might be one of the three biggest matchups in the entire game. The only thing we know about the only thing we know that Trent McDuffie occasionally struggles with at corner is bigger-bodied wide receivers. And because of the injuries at corner this year, you'd actually probably be surprised to find out the Chiefs ranked in the bottom 10 efficiency-wise at facing number 1 wide receivers for opposing team. Now, they shut down Nico Collins. Mac Hollins was who got him in the last game. That's not a number 1
It was very
wide
Gabe
receivers.
Davis-like. That was a very.
It
was trending. No, it was. Gabe Davis had 200 yards. Matt Collins still only ended up with like 80, didn't he?
But they did throw at him against the big-bodied wide receivers. I expect them to use A.J. Brown. That's where Jalen Watson becomes massively important. Because my initial instinct is, if they're going to use McDuffie and A.J. Brown a lot, man, we're going to have to pay attention to that matchup all day. Because that is a matchup that Trent McDuffie can lose. And I wouldn't say that about a lot of matchups on the field for him, because he is one of the league's best corners and has been for multiple years now. This is where I'm hopeful Jalen Watson is going to be far more available. Even in the last game, after Jalen Watson came back, who warmed up at corner 2, who played opening snaps at corner 2. It was once again not Jalen Watson, it was Najee Johnson who was doing that job. And so if they're back in that spot, they are going to use McDuffie more to try to slow down A.J. Brown. And that's a difficult matchup for him size-wise.
It is. I think this is also dependent on how healthy is Jalen Hurts. That was the question going in the NFC title game. Now he's going to have 2 weeks to get even fresher. Up until the game against Washington last week, Jalen Hurts was not playing great. The passing game was not effective. A.J. Brown in the first playoff game against the Rams, the division round, I guess, second playoff game against the Rams, only had 2 catches for 14 yards. The Rams did a great job on him. Yes, there was elements as well in the snow. In the wild card round against the Packers, 1 reception, 3 targets, 10 yards. I think a lot of that was Jalen Hurts not being right. I assume with some more time off he will, and they'll carry over. He put up 6 catches for 96 and a touchdown against a really bad Commanders defense. So I'm trying to balance of where things are at. A.J. Brown in the last month or so, while Jalen Hurts has been either in the lineup, out of the lineup, injury, etc., has not put up crazy numbers. In the postseason, he's got 9 catches for 120 and a touchdown. But again, 96 of those came last week. So he's capable of going off in a game. So much of this matchup, though, will be dependent on how effective is Jalen Hurts. Because I still think out of
it doesn't have to be if Saquon's great. But
Sure, I think against the Chiefs, though, it can't just be Saquon. Like I against the Commanders, against these other opponents, Saquon could just do it all on his own. I think Jalen Hurts will have to be able to pass the football.
You think they can win a game in which Saquon goes for 160 is what you're saying?
I do. I really believe that.
I do too.
Yeah. It'll obviously be something you would not like to see. But yes, I do. I think Jalen Hurts is still the key here because out of all the dual threat quarterbacks, and he certainly is one of them, Lamar, Allen, and the Chiefs, of course, have played those two this season, Buffalo twice. Jalen Hurts, to me, is more of a guy that's going to stay in the pocket when he throws, though. Like Josh Allen will roll out to his right and throw the football. Jalen Hurts is mobile, and he can kill you on the ground. But Jalen Hurts is not usually the guy that's rolling out and throwing. He's in the pocket throwing. So that'll be interesting in how, and this is where you have ultimate faith in Spags and what he will dial up. This is an Eagles team that they faced a year ago. There's some different elements to it, new coordinator and all that. But just like we mentioned how they found a look or two on the Bills defense, the same thing applies to Spagnuolo. There'll be something that they show differently. Whether it's it may take till the last play of the game. I mean, the blitz that they had on Josh Allen when Trent McDuffie came in, that was his most exotic blitz of the entire postseason. And he saved it for that moment. So I have no doubt they'll have something up their sleeve.
This probably won't surprise people based on the fact that both of these teams are in the Super Bowl. These are pretty similar teams in strengths and weaknesses. Not identical. I would say the biggest differences actually are quarterback and running back, in which the Chiefs have the biggest advantage at quarterback versus Hurts, and the Eagles obviously have the best running back in Saquon Barkley. They're both deep weapon-wise. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson. They got a good, decent receiving tight end like they can throw it around. They have injuries at offensive line that would create problems for a good defensive end. Same as the Chiefs, Jalen Carter versus the interior of their offensive line versus Chris Jones versus what has been a struggle at interior offensive line for them. They both have really good corners. I don't care if you're saying Cooper DeJean or Quinyon Mitchell. They have good corners who can cover fairly well. Zach Bond's really the one big difference is he came out of nowhere and is clearly a big-time player for them. But I just feel like this ends up being I could see, like, our initial instinct is put your best corner on their best wide receiver. Go on him all the time, Trent McDuffie. And I actually think there's a way in which the Eagles would like it if you did that. The Eagles wouldn't mind if that was the pairing. I'm not saying Trent McDuffie's going to get fried over here. He's too good of a corner for that. But I don't think that that's what they hate. I think that this is one of those games versus last game where I told you I just wanted McDuffie on Khalil Shakir the entire game. I think this is one of those games where you just let McDuffie stay to his side, move around. It doesn't have to just be A.J. Brown. It can be Devonta Smith. It can be other guys. And I'm okay with him in a variety of matchups.
Yeah, he matches up really well with Devonta Smith because from a size perspective, like I know Devonta Smith might be taller, but you talk about, like body size.
Sure.
A.J. Brown is like 6'3", 230. He's a tank.
He's the kind of wide receiver we dream about in Kansas City every year that we never get.
He's like a smaller version of DK, who he ironically
the
played college with.
Titans trading A.J. Brown to the Eagles is one of the worst trades of the last 15 years. It really is.
How's it working out with that guy they took? Who'd they take in the draft?
Treylon Burks, right?
Yeah,
I think it's Treylon Burks.
He was doing special teams, I think, this past season, right?
I am reminded because someone texted or tweeted in the last time the Chiefs played the Eagles. To our point about it'll be interesting how the Chiefs decide given the height difference. A.J. Brown basically mossed Trent McDuffie for that 45-yard touchdown catch the last time they played.
Yeah.
So that's fresh in the mind too.
I wasn't even thinking about that play. I was just thinking about the type of wide receivers who give him trouble.
Because there was a point where Keon Coleman had beat him for a rep as well. Keon Coleman 6'4", Matt Collins 6'4", Cortland Sutton, who he had the most trouble with this year, 6'4", and not to say that
Keon Coleman didn't do anything this past week.
Yeah, Keon Coleman, he meant in the first matchup.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there was a moment where you look at 6'4", 6'3"
Cortland Sutton
guys.
definitely got him.
Cortland Sutton, A.J. Brown is built like Cortland Sutton, where he's not just tall, he's strong, hard to be able to defend and maneuver around, if you will, in terms of breaking up a pass. Or Devonta Smith, a little bit easier, I think.
Yeah, the Cortland Sutton one, it's funny because we all said the same thing. We're like, man, he got the best of Trent McDuffie. It's so funny.
Yards.
It still was
wasn't
not
even that great of a game.
It was 6 catches for 70. I'll live with it. Sign me up for that. That's what A.J. Brown gets. I'll sign me up for that right now.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think there's a quality difference between A.J. Brown and Cortland Sutton that
No
exists.
doubt.
That it's like
No question.
6 for 70 for Sutton is probably 7 for 110 for Brown.
No doubt.
Whatever, you know?
A.J. Brown's one of the legit wide receivers. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people at media night around with the book talking about books with A.J. Brown.
Being able
you and I, are we going to read the book he was reading before the Super Bowl just so we're on the same
Super Bowl, so I
spot,
shouldn't really complain. I don't really want my players reading on the sideline.
He looks at
gets
passes.
his mind right.
Is that a hot take?
He gets his mind right.
He gets his mind right. Yeah, I think it's fine.
I don't want my players. I want them.
That book became the
looking
number
at
one
an iPad or something.
Became the number one book on Amazon's list because
Cody,
that dude made a lot of money because of A.J. Brown.
I know it was
book.
up like 7 billion %
This is the thing
from
there,
where
Cody.
it was.
Would you rather have A.J. Brown get mad at Jalen Hurts on the sideline or looking at his book? You'd rather him looking at his book for some motivation. Because
You know what's so funny is like you're saying that, but I think you at some point on this show or other people are always like I want my guy yelling. I want him telling him he's mad. You said that about Mahomes. I want him yelling at his offensive lineman, letting him have it, letting him hear this thing. I want A.J. Brown in the damn game, not reading some self-help book. I want his ass looking at coverages on the iPad.
There's a difference in wide receiver saying it and quarterback, for one. And two, also, it's not I'm getting mad at you yelling. Like, get me the ball. If Mahomes, I want him to say, can y'all protect me, please? Like just give me an extra second, like a little bit. Like, not getting mad, but yeah.
What's funny, the book is inner excellence or whatever. And again, next week, I'm sure it'll get brought up again because it's the Super Bowl or whatever. But you can go to so now it's bad, though, because now I get these emails. I did not buy the book, but I went to the website.
You went to Inner Excellence's website. You were trying to find your own Inner Excellence.
And I signed up, and I got the first chapter for free. And I signed the first chapter.
Did you read it?
But I did. I did not buy the book. But the problem is now I'm on I need to find out to unsubscribe. Now I get once or twice a week these not passages but tip basically the author has clearly a subscription list now that's probably grown like crazy.
Okay.
Jim Murphy, who I believe
Little tidbits from
played
the book,
baseball if I'm not mistaken, right? Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of funny, but no, maybe I feel like I need to read the whole book now.
I was going to say,
get an inside edge.
Do you feel like
That's
you
right.
need to
I got to get the same mindset that A.J. Brown's going to have.
Send Andy some notes. Be like, hey, look, I read what he was reading. I mean, I know he's thinking on this route based on what Jim Murphy has
Well, there's
to
the
say.
pictures of the book. He genuinely, it's not like he's
Oh,
just
he's
going
got
and
it
highlighting.
highlighted.
Yeah, he's got the highlight and the underlines.
Yeah,
and
I don't
everything
want him
like that.
highlighting a book, dude.
He doesn't do
in
it
the
on
middle of the sidelines.
Cody, he does not have a highlighter in his highlighting
He's just
passages on
reading
the sidelines. There's no way.
To be clear, it's not the book. I don't care if he's reading A Wrinkle in Time. I don't care if he's reading the Bible. It doesn't matter what the book is. I don't want him reading on the sidelines.
The book
for an NFL game.
The book it's about training your mind for these extraordinary moments. Cody doesn't believe that clearly.
Evidently, it helps him a lot.
Science.
Hey, you know what? It helps A.J. Brown. More power to him. Because look. If you found out this whole time Patrick Mahomes was also reading a book on the sideline, you would want him to do nothing different other than read that book because he's been elite in the postseason.
Yeah, but no, I did not buy the book. You should buy it. You're the one that you and your wife read way more. Like I feel like
you're the book person.
The Cody Tap Book Club.
I do read some. She reads like 90 books a year.
Yeah,
you think I get through 90 books a year?
That's
You're
wild.
nuts.
Maybe you can read this one though. I don't know.
Call me a sucker though, and obviously a lot of people are on this because it's the number one bestseller. If all of a sudden, you be honest, if Patrick Mahomes was randomly on the sideline reading a pass for the book, that thing would be number one, and we would all be reading in Kansas City.
That's what I'm saying.
We just would, man.
I'm buying some books just because Mahomes reads it.
It would be the number one best-selling book in Kansas City and on Amazon. If Mahomes was reading a book on the sideline for 5 seconds and there was a passage for the book.
People will be getting it tattooed or whatever. Like if Mahomes said, "This is my favorite passage," they 100%. Tattooed, everything.
Someone says now Cody's talking bad about the Bible. No, I said I just said I didn't care what book he was reading.
Oh boy.
Now it's going to cost us. Patrick Mahomes, thank God, right after the game. We're good. He's got it covered.
That'll be another prop bet offshore. Who will the Super MVP thank first? Family, team?
Patrick Mahomes, thank God first after the AFC Championship game. So
that'll be the favorite. There will literally be odds on that.
100%.
Seems most likely, I guess, based on that scenario.
Who are you thanking first, Cody?
I don't know.
Your wife?
Teammates, wife, I guess. Those are the classic ones, right? My family.
Thanks, Brian Kelly.
I don't know, some version of that, I'm sure. I've never won anything that necessitated thanking people.
Fair enough.
That at no point has come into play for something I've been asked to do.
When this show wins number one midday in the country, you'll have an opportunity to say it.
When we're the number one mid-market midday show, I will then an acceptance speech.
I think
to
that's
thank
next
people.
week, by the way.
Oh, really?
I think it's next week.
Let's see if we move up. We went from 14 to 12. I don't know. Does anybody remember?
I think
16 to 14.
I think it was 16 to 14.
I'm not sure.
It might have been 13.
That's become the running joke though for years now. Some of our listeners are in on the bid.
Let's get to the top 10.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. We look at the dynasty that the Chiefs are, and you think about, can they end up being the best ever? And I'm not just talking in football. I'm talking in sports history. I think for that sentence to be true, they have to three-peat.
For the NFL, would you give it to them before we talk about the big picture?
I don't believe so, because I think people will still, I'm talking about how the masses will view it. They will still look at the Patriots because it's hard for, even though there are two separate dynasties, people have lumped it together and they see 7 rings and that's all they see. And so they'll say, well, you have 3. It can't be anywhere near that. I think the way you close the gap from a consensus opinion on it outside of Kansas City is you get the three-peat. It's something the Patriots stand to. The reason why we'll always give a football team, including the Patriots, the edge over the great Lakers teams, the great Celtics football teams of the 80s, and the Niners obviously were terrific as well, but the Niners would get a leg up over some of those basketball teams because football, one game I'm off. One game I'm not reading about my inner excellence on the sideline, Cody, and all of a sudden...
One game, David Tyree holds a football to the side of his helmet by some miracle.
And it's over. Eli Manning gets you. In the playoffs for the NBA or baseball as well, if I have a bad game, I got 6 more games in a best-of-7 series to get right. LeBron, we all know, was down 3-1. Like, that stuff happens. In a football game, if you're off that one mistake, you're done.
So I'll admit my ignorance, because I looked this up. I was curious what people list, and I'll admit my ignorance of the NHL. Because I brought this conversation up casually, and someone's like, well, what about the Oilers and the hockey team?
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s. And I was like, what? Or 80s. I'm like, I don't know. What? They won 5 championships in 7 years. I'm like, okay. But I immediately ding any sport that's pre-salary cap. Kudos to you that you got to hold on to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and every other great player in the NBA for eternity because there were no financial constraints in order to do it. I don't care about, you can mention any Yankees dynasty to me. I don't care. I don't care. They won 1 billion AL pennants and 10 World Series from the 40s to the 60s. They did it in a league that had half as many teams with an unlimited salary cap and a million advantages. I look at this as a modern day thing. And so I'll eliminate those not because of their own dismissal, but you better be talking to me about dynasties pretty much 1990 on. And yeah, football is a far more impressive way to do it. And the Patriots run, I do not count as one dynasty because they took a 10 year hiatus, not from being good. They were good all those runs, but from winning a Super Bowl. I don't think you can take that long a time off and still do it. With a win, it submits. It's the best football one ever. I think it's the best football one ever. I think to be what you said, an all-time sports dynasty, they got to win it.
Because the Patriots
got to repeat
6 out of 11 years, not out of 11 years, but 6 out of 11 Super Bowls over 2 decades is what you're saying. I think outside of Kansas City, people will still look at it as, all right, they went to 11 Super Bowls and won 6, and that's the dynasty.
I mean, if you say it like that, it certainly sounds.
So I think the three-peat is kind of that card you can throw in people's face, like, hey, that didn't even happen in that run. 4 rings, 5 trips in 6 years and 4 rings. And your quarterback's not even 30 yet, and you think about how the dynasty could still extend past this year, even more so with the three-peat. Like, that's why they would be the greatest dynasty in sports history.
So who would they, if they win this, they're compared with, I guess, this Oilers team, but also the Warriors and then the Bulls, right? I mean, those are the only.
And the Warriors never won 3 in a row, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls from 90 to 98. I mean, that's
a tough one, dude. 6 and 8. But again,
that was a three-peat involved as well. But
you could keep all your star players.
What's that?
That was the thing about the Bulls. There were 2 three-peats, and they didn't three-peat because they didn't win another one because MJ retired and they came back.
But to his point, it's like in the NFL.
Yeah.
In the NFL, it's 53 players. It's a million things. It's one game. Like LeBron James won an NBA title in a series in which he had lost 3 of 4 games and still got to win an NBA title. Now, look, he still had to win those 3 games, but like the margin for error, to Gold's point, is massive in these other sports, man.
Yeah.
Like if you had a 1-game series sample, well, then the Red Sox don't win that World Series. The Yankees were up 3-0, and their series go on to win it, or somebody else goes on to win it. The margin of error is crazy.
We can play the what-if game with all these teams in these great dynasties. I mean, because what you were saying, Drew, about MJ and stepping away in 95, there's a lot of people that truly believe, and we'll never know the answer, but
would have just kept winning them.
We thought they would have won 8 straight. Like, they're like legitimately, people think that, maybe, man, that they would have won 8 straight championships, and then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. They would be the greatest dynasty of all time.
If you extend it out to like the Patriots level, where would they be? They wouldn't have won 6 championships because right now, where are they in the last 11 years as a franchise? 9, 10 division titles and 3 Super Bowls would be 4 if they win.
I think you have to cut it off. I think you have to
cut it off the Mahomes era.
Well, yeah, Drew's confused. You talking about Brady or Mahomes? Sorry,
I was talking about the Mahomes. If I was just trying to equal it to the number of years, they're pretty close to that anyway. Like, I'm not saying they're there, and that includes some, like, first front ones on the Alex Smith era.
There's just a big
all the division
difference.
titles, all the other stuff.
Not only is the three-peat a big difference, but getting to the 4th title during the run. Like, 3 titles, 6 appearances. No, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
4 titles
but
in the
4
NFL.
in 6 is something. It is something.
And even now, like, so in the reason for the argument, or in the case of the argument, particularly in the NFL, if they do win this one, I don't know. I don't know if the Patriots have any argument where, yes, they won 6 out of 11, but for them to go to as many straight AFC title games as they have, like the Patriots didn't even do that amidst that run. Yes, they had the 6 and the 11, but they couldn't even get to the AFC title game every single year. Where the fact that the Chiefs and Mahomes are doing that is elevating the legend of the dynasty even further.
It's crazy.
So this is a 5 text because I don't have it. The proof I have is the fact they're in the Super Bowl, but from the 913, someone says, the Chiefs look tired this year. There's no way they can keep this up.
They've been saying that since week 5.
They get 2 weeks off, too.
Based off of what? Like, are you saying they're too tired to win the Super Bowl, or like that this year is going to wear them out to where they can't win again? Like, that's...
I don't care.
No! Like, it also... They haven't... based off of what? They play. We were saying they played a lot of games over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
a lot of 1-score games the last 2 years, and it's been
like when they won 12 1-score games. Like, oh, this isn't sustainable. Fast forward, they've won 17 of 1-score games in a row, and they are in the Super Bowl again. Like, that kind of stuff drives me crazy because just based off of what I could have told you 3 years ago. Oh, they're not going to keep winning. I mean, it's like what we gave Ross Tucker a hard time for when he joined us a couple years ago. He joins us every week, but a few years ago when he's like, they can't repeat. They won't. And then they lost in the Super Bowl, or they lost in the AFC title game. It's like, well, okay, so was that? Yes, you were accurate. I guess it's a fact they did not repeat. But if the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl to the Eagles, same thing. Like, I told you they weren't good enough. Like, What are we talking about?
I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but to me, I think the Patriots dynasty equates more to the Bulls dynasty, where not that there's more of an appreciation for it, but it's two major markets in a way that are there's a level of greatness that's there, and people obviously respect it and
Major
everything like that.
See, that's the nonsense. But I do think people do that.
But I think in fairness, people didn't. At least again, I was either not alive or I was just being born with the Bulls dynasty. But in terms of the level of hate that the Chiefs have compared to the Warriors and what they did, where they changed the game in a way, they found a way to win when nobody thought. They just kept on winning and winning and winning. And the Warriors had the 73-9 season, and the Chiefs just find a way to keep on winning. It seems like those dynasties are more equal in a way, the Warriors and the Chiefs compared to the others.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending, and then our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, Nate Taylor, going to join us. We'll get his perspective on the Eagles-Chiefs matchup again, and if he's got some more insight on exactly how things came together against Buffalo.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The FanDuel Kick of Destiny is back, and this time it's every Manning for himself. This Super Bowl, two legends are going to take the field in a sudden death field goal showdown. Peyton versus Eli, live from New Orleans. One kick to claim ultimate family bragging rights. Who's going to rise to the moment? Pick your winner now in the FanDuel app, and if you back the right brother, you'll earn a share of $10 million in bonus bets. It's the FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3. Make your free pick, and don't forget to tune in to watch the showdown live during the Super Bowl 59 pregame show on Fox at 2 p.m. Central. May the best Manning win. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. No purchase necessary. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Side of Rob Side Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Side Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Side Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Side Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Site Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Site Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Site Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Site Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Got excess mucus living rent-free in your chest? That's what's causing your chest congestion. So treat the cause and kick out mucus with Mucinex 12-Hour. Each bi-layer tablet thins and loosens mucus for 12 hours. The immediate release layer starts treating chest congestion right away, while the extended release layer ensures long-lasting relief. One dose lasts 3 times longer than 4-hour medicines. Take back your day with Mucinex 12-Hour. Buy now at your local retailer. Use as directed.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus by February 12th, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Jewelrygram, it's your friends at Shane Company, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with the natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Casey's has 8 new coffee roasts that have been described as having rich aromatics that entice any palate. But, we're not sure what that means, so we just call it darn good coffee. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. Get a free any-size coffee with Casey's Rewards. See Casey's Rewards for details.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund, so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
When I wake up,
the best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I put on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. Congratulations, Kansas City. The Chiefs are headed to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Noon hour here on Cody and Gold. Much like yesterday, we'll be honest, what's trending is presented by our friends over at Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. It's just Super Bowl related. The fact that we did learn today the Chiefs are going to wear white jerseys of the road team. Remember, it rotates. There's no conspiracy or anything like that.
Third straight year they've worn the white jersey, though.
16-4 teams are since 2000 in Super Bowls when they wear white. And that record's even more impressive because 2 of the 4 losses were when the Niners wore white and lost to the Chiefs. So really, that means the Chiefs are winning. They're wearing white, guys. It's over. It's already over. It's been decided.
I am starting to grow concerned. Nate Taylor of The Athletic joining us now. Brought to you by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. Call 816-221-1750. I'm starting to worry, Nate, that every single Chiefs Super Bowl has the world's lamest conspiracy next to it. This year, it'll be the refs. Mm-hmm. It was the practice facility not being up to their standards.
Yeah, the turf wasn't good enough.
The year before.
Oh,
the
boy.
Eagles Super Bowl the year before that, somehow they were the only people who played on the bad turf in Arizona, not both teams, just them. Was there one around the San Francisco one? No, I don't remember.
No,
was there any controversy there?
I remember because when they went to Miami, the Chiefs were the lovable team still.
Yes,
So,
that's right.
They were technically America's
That's
team.
right.
Whoa!
Yeah, people love them then. There was no conspiracy then, but the minute, the minute, you live long enough to become a villain, and here we are. The dynasty lasts long enough, you become a villain.
What great true words, I
kind of like it.
But it's the truth.
Yeah, those Batman writers were pretty good.
They're pretty good. No, this is the reality that we live in. I know because it's a quote unquote rematch or the second rematch of the dynasty that's potentially less exciting. Although kids, have you watched Saquon Barkley? My God. But yeah,
He's pretty good.
Pretty good. But no, it'll be a fun week. Like I just want everyone in my hometown to enjoy this. Okay. Don't, I've written it before. Obviously you guys have said it. Like we shouldn't take these things for granted. We should appreciate what rarefied air you're in. By the way, no other team's been in this air, right? Like to climb this high of a mountain from an illustration standpoint, like, hey, bro, ain't nobody trying to do this. So if you don't enjoy it, just because of somebody says something on the internet or just because somebody says something on TV, I honestly think that's more of a you problem, not what everybody else is saying. Like your team is playing for a three-peat, which has never happened in the 105-year history of the National Football League. Just enjoy the hell out of whatever the next 2 weeks are going to be.
Don't you think it is different, though? You're right. They enjoy it. Ultimately, fast forward 50 years from now, 30 years from now, like I think as the dust settles, I don't think people will 30 years from now consider this run the way they are considering it right now nationally, which is not talking about the greatness of it. That's what's weird. When have we seen, though, whether it's the NFL or in baseball, football, this doesn't matter, whatever level we're talking about, college football too, like
right,
where when there's history on the line, we've gotten to a point where nobody actually, I guess, appreciates that outside of the teams that are involved. Now we look for ways. Is that just social media now?
Yes.
Like where we find ways. I can remember who had the tweet where it's like Michael Jordan would have been the most hated player ever if Twitter was around in the 90s.
Oh my God. I kind of wish I could see.
He was hated anyway, but
right,
exactly. But you know what I mean.
Exactly. I wish we could at least get a glimpse. Like give me like 2 days of Jordan in the news cycle of 24/7 social media now, because, and this is, I've read the books. I've obviously seen the documentaries. I lived in that era as a young child. But man, can you imagine? Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jordan was trying to complete a three-peat, which would have separated him from Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Isaiah Thomas in the early 1993 season, while also mired in a conspiracy that he spent too much time in Atlantic City between Game 1 and Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And by the way, in reaction to that, Michael Jordan said, I ain't talking to nobody. He cut the media off for more than 2 weeks for the rest of the series. By the way, never lost another game after Game 2, just won 4 straight. And then I think it was, the documentary does this really, really well, but like, because of his relationship with Ahmad Rashad, it was like, hey man, do you want to do an interview before Game 1 of the NBA Finals? And he was like, sure, get your camera now. He's doing the interview saying, I don't have a gambling problem with sunglasses on, sir.
On Game 1 of the NBA
Finals. On game day.
Man, think about how big of a deal on social media we made about just like Kyler Murray and Call of Duty. Could you imagine if it was like a real gambling scandal with the #1 player in the NBA?
That's absurd. It just all makes me laugh because, that was that era and people didn't like Jordan, but we tend to not remember that because, hey man, what a great pass to John Paxson in the corner, wide open. They won 3 straight NBA titles. It's just...
You're not going to be able to say anything. The Chiefs win this because it just hasn't happened in the Super Bowl era. When you start going through this, like, no one's going to be able to say anything to you. You will be the single greatest dynasty in NFL history. I think you could make an argument that you are anyway.
Correct.
Because no team's ever gotten back to the Super Bowl. No team's ever gone to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They did the 3 out of 4, which is really as good as anybody has done in the NFL. So, like, they've accomplished the maximum amount you can accomplish in a short window span of the NFL. Because the text line earlier is always getting stuff wrong. They're like, well, the Patriots won 6 out of 11. First off, they didn't. They won 6. They won 6 Super Bowls. They took a decade off in between. In the Tom Brady era, they won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years.
Crazy.
They didn't win 6 and 19. They didn't win 6 and 10. That's
saying 6 and 20 is incredible.
It's a crazy number. And Mahomes might win 4 of 6.
Crazy.
So, like, I mean,
Insane.
you got to think about the truncated time period. And, like, when I look at this Chiefs team, and we did this conversation, I think, at the beginning of the playoffs. This is a better team than last year's team. Doesn't mean they're going to win the game.
Correct.
Doesn't guarantee them a win against Philly. I think this Philly team is better than the San Francisco team they faced in the. I think it's a better team than the San Francisco team they faced last year.
Hold on. No.
You don't think so?
No.
Dang.
No. Guys, there's no one on the Eagles named Nick Bosa, okay? There's no one on the Eagles that's as good as Greenwald was before. Unfortunately,
I mean, in fairness,
ACL injury.
I know the names now, but Brock Purdy was playing better football than Jalen Hurts has played at any point this year.
Yeah, Brock Purdy was a more
he was on a heater.
It's the name. We hear the name Brock Purdy, we're all like, no.
They had an all-star team, dog. Like they had, just for everybody's sake, okay? Yes, A.J. Brown, very good player. One day might go in the Hall of Fame.
They had a star running back.
Yeah, they had the best running back in the league. They had Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, who could deliver the ball on time, which is all we asked for in the Shanahan system. Still had mobility, right? So you have McCaffrey, you have Brandon Ayuk, you have Deebo Samuel. Oh, by the way, George Kittle's just the third option. We have Brennan Jennings, who played very well in the Super Bowl.
Good offensive line play.
Great offensive line with Trent Williams as the anchor with left tackle. I mean, it was a.
So you think last year's is the best team, better than the Bucs team too?
Yes, because the Bucs team was more experienced, and you could argue, and I might argue, that Mike Evans was a better receiver than anybody the 49ers had. But in collection, by the way, Tom Brady had the last years of. Who was their running back? Was it Leonard Fournette? Yeah, it was Leonard
Fournette.
I mean, they were so.
He was great in the game, too.
That's every Super Bowl winning running back. They're all just dudes.
At the end, yeah. But they had such great experience between, Brady, Fournette, Gronk, Evans, and the last.
Devin White. They had a really good defensive
And the last
front.
great memory of Antonio Brown, who, by the way, routed up Tyrann Mathieu, and that's when I said, "Oh boy, guys, pack it up!" Like Antonio Brown's routing up, Tyrann Mathieu, their best defender in the secondary. Oh boy!
But you agree that this year's team is better than last year's for the Chiefs,
correct?
Because they're worse on the offensive line, but in my opinion, not like noticeably worse. Like 10% worse, not 50% worse.
So far, yes.
Better in the secondary, in my opinion. Because I think they're deeper in the back end of the secondary.
Yes.
They're worse at corner, but better in the overall secondary.
Correct.
Better on the defensive line, better at wide receiver, the same at running back, or, mildly.
You could say mildly better with Kareem Hunt. The fact that you have a legitimate 1-2 punch versus we just gotta ride Isaiah Pacheco till the wheels fall off.
The one thing that I'm sure will be discussed a ton next week in New Orleans will be, Jalen Carter against Caliendo and just that front. We all remember, though, just 2 years ago, everybody was talking about the defensive front of the Eagles and like, oh my gosh, the Chiefs O-line is screwed. And then they had 0 sacks and they all wore 0 sack shirts to the parade. I'm just saying, it's like, it's a legit discussion, but it's going to be you're going to have a hard time convincing me next week. I'm talking about Philly and national media that, oh man, this O-line they're in big trouble against this front. I heard the same thing 2 years ago.
Can I remind you, guys, what you guys should really bang on next week, because it's entered my mind and I think it's relevant.
Don't talk to Jerry Jones about that. But yeah, what?
And glory holes.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Jerry. So think about it this way: the only issue that the Philadelphia Eagles had 2 years ago was that they were not tested at any point, at any moment during the season. They played hey, we won a playoff game, Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. And then my man's elbow fell off in the first quarter.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah,
so they were never tested. And the moment they got in the close game, guess what? Their defense wasn't equipped to handle that level of an offense in a big moment. Because, again, they weren't tested. They didn't have to be tested. A similar thing has occurred this year, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? They played in the snow against a team from Los Angeles, okay, with an aging quarterback who played well, but didn't really play well. And
They almost won.
And by the way, like, how many fumble recoveries have they gotten over the last 2 weeks? And by the way, in the championship game, the most important game of your season so far, you had a rookie and they fumbled the ball 3 times at quarter. They had a rookie at quarterback who played well, but was with a below average defense when they don't get turnovers, because that's why they beat Detroit. Like, they got all those turnovers in the divisional round game. They got none. And guess what? Their defense wasn't really sustainable. And you've been forcing, to their credit, you've been forcing a lot of fumbles, but neither one of them games was really that close. And the game script allows you to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley as many times as you want. So, is the Eagles yet again prepared for a championship matchup when the road's been as pretty and as paved as it could possibly be in what we consider an already watered down NFC?
I don't think that's the whole thing. And that was what, we were having the, are they the best NFL dynasty and all this other stuff. Patrick Mahomes, it stood out to me that Patrick Mahomes the last 3 years in the AFC Championship game has beaten Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. He just went ahead and took on the 3 other great quarterbacks in the NFL and said, I'll take you out one by one. You can all take your swing. It's fine. I'll beat you all on my way to the Super Bowl. So, but I get it. The quarterback matchups in the Super Bowl haven't been as good as those 3 guys. Jalen Hurts is funny because, him and Nick Sirianni, though, it's I have to shake personal feelings because Nick Sirianni's been in the league 4 years. He's been in the playoffs all 4 years. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, but I think he is a jerk. And because of that, I'm he can't be that good because he sucks.
Yeah, he's an a-hole.
As a person. And so, I'm okay, hold on. Just take that for a side for a minute. If he were like Kyle Shanahan and I liked him, I'd probably think a lot higher of him. And Jalen Hurts has been a starter for 4 years and been in the Super Bowl for 2 years. So, I don't think you should take those guys lightly either, I guess.
Right. What a moment. Oh, I enjoyed that entire explanation. Your entire
It's hard
feelings.
to separate personal feelings, you know?
No, Nick Sirianni's fine. He's an above average coach. People should acknowledge that. Again, game script's been really nice. Now last year they got pantsed by Todd Bowles. Okay? Yeah. Say that. Let me say that one more time.
Todd Bowles.
Last year, they got schematically pantsed by Todd Bowles. All right?
I think great.
Isn't this all about the coordinators then?
True. Yes.
They got way better coordinators.
Kellen Moore is great. Vic Fangio, awesome. Now, I've seen Patrick Mahomes against Vic Fangio. It has been not pretty for Vic Fangio.
It's weird, though. Yes, and then we were going to talk about this tomorrow or next week. Mahomes, because what you're saying, Mahomes never lost to Fangio.
And it ain't been pretty.
No.
It's guys, it hasn't been as close as people
Well, in fairness, he
suggest.
had Osweiler or something. Who was the quarterback during the Fangio era?
As a head coach or defensive coordinator, 8-0 Mahomes is. Who was that? Was that Simeon? Who was the quarterback for Fangio when he was there briefly?
I don't remember.
Was that Trevor Simeon?
Maybe.
They've had so
I know.
many.
I'm trying to get.
It's hard to track.
I confuse the Paxton Lynch, Trevor
Okay,
Simeon.
I'll look
You know
it
what's funny
up.
is as much as I
I'll
like
look
when
it up 2018, 2019.
as much as I like when teams that the Chiefs have to play regularly have bad quarterbacks and you're just like, it's a joke. In a lot of ways, I feel like the Chiefs are in a better situation when they have a quarterback who is fine and pretty good, who they'll pay a bunch of money to,
Right.
but is never going to be good enough to beat you. Like, Bo Nix is the perfect quarterback to have in your division. It's like having Derek Carr. You're like, well, you're just stuck in mediocrity. You'll make a regular season game hard every 3 years, but that's it? All right, cool. Sounds good to me.
I know you found the answer as well.
Go ahead, Alex.
I think it's Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, Drew Lock. I don't know. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, Teddy Two Gloves. Still in the league, by the way.
Yeah, how about
What?
that? Yeah, he's a backup for. He
Still-
played in the playoffs.
He played the division
Goff
round.
got hurt for a little while, remember?
Oh, that's right.
And
Fresh
Teddy
off a high
Bridgewater-
school title.
Yeah, he was coaching high school football. All of a sudden, he was in a drive in the division, divisional round game.
And they were just like, we cannot let this man pass the ball. Cannot let him do it.
Crazy.
If you were trying to pinpoint, Nate, because part of the conversation this one could be like, how did you even get here, right? How did you manage to accomplish it? Other than the obvious, the combination of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid will go very far for anything. I think that 2022 draft class might very well end up being one of the single biggest reasons why they have a chance to three-peat. I was like, we went through the whole list. Sky Moore is the only guy who's like, he's still on a roster, but like, he's the only guy who like doesn't play any minutes other than Darian Kennard, who's actually a backup offensive lineman for the Eagles.
Correct.
So like, he's still on an NFL roster too. The other like 6 guys play real minutes for this team. I don't care if it's Cook, Chanel, Karlaftis, McDuffie. They got all pros, Pro Bowlers, just regular starters, guys they've had to lean on like Najee Johnson. Like, it doesn't really matter the player. The fact that all 3 7th-rounders play for you
is crazy.
The 2 corners share the time, and Pacheco's in a timeshare.
It's amazing. You know, I could probably, and I don't know if they three-peat, I might be forced into doing more stories that look back as to that draft class. I've done them before on Trip McDuffie and George Karlaftis, and like, you know, the I've even done a story earlier this year about Leo Chenal, just the fact that they found him when they found him, and how he's been the exact player that he and they thought he was going to be for their defense. The best part about it that I remember talking to people in the organization, in the front office specifically, was not necessarily feeling a ton of pressure, but there was the inherent burden that we really about to do this? You saying we really about to trade him?
Yeah.
And they traded
him. It's got to
him.
count.
Yes. And so it's like, okay, we, you know, kind of what even Brett Veach said in the press conference after the game on Sunday, like, we believe our board, we trust each other, and why would we flinch? You know, so let's go and do our job to help the team be successful. Let's go out and identify ways we can make the roster better. Because I remember back before that 22 draft class, their big discussion was, how do we get the roster to be balanced? The roster had become unbalanced with a little too top heavy on offense and not enough support from a defensive standpoint. Obviously, the defense had gotten older relatively quickly from that championship team in 2019 under Steve Spagnuolo. When he was, you know, the coordinator for his first year, he brought on a bunch of veteran players. Well, now that has reached its course, and we got to get more balance, which means we probably got to lean more on defensive players. And wouldn't you know it, with the burden or the pressure of the Tyreek Hill trade, the fact that you have to hit immediately, not like, oh, we can just hit a little bit here, hit a little bit in 2023, 2024, we can just kind of slow build this thing out. Like, no, you've got to hit now. And they did it in a manner when the rest of the league was still chasing offensive players. You look at that draft class from 2022, it is still pretty offensive heavy. And then what's crazy is last year's draft got even more offensive heavy.
Yeah.
So they pivoted when it was the time to pivot or zag. And them executing at that high of a level once you've traded away a future Hall of Fame receiver is really remarkable when you look at it under those sort of parameters.
These are probably the 2 best GMs in the game, right?
Oh, Howie Roseman's incredible.
Yeah. He gets more praise than any other GM in the league, I feel like.
Well, it's a lot of it is deserved. Because he was willing to say, yeah. You know, it sucks. Like, Carson Wentz was a great football player. And then the knee thing happened and they couldn't recover and he cut his losses. Or I'll mitigate it a little bit with drafting Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, and then I'll move on from Carson Wentz, and now I'll just outmaneuver everybody, or the majority of the general managers in the NFL. Can we get a Hard Knocks offseason of them? Because I've seen the bad guys. Poor Joe Shane.
Unbelievable.
Poor.
And then Jane Daniels.
In real time, somebody should have been in the room screaming, "You sure about that?"
The Jane Daniels comment from his son, that hurt. And Barkley, obviously. The Barkley was the first one. Little did we know Jane Daniels is going to go in and have the year he had, Rookie of the Year.
Hey, NFL Films, educate me. How is Howie Roseman so good at this? I don't need to see Joe Shane at the worst possible point in his career. He has no winning hand. Nobody wants to, by the way, can I say the quiet thing out loud? Ain't nobody want to sign with the Giants? No way. What are we doing
right now?
Why are we putting this on tape?
You got
That
Nate
was my
Taylor.
favorite clip of the entire offseason. That's embarrassing.
Again, the Barkley
Your kid
thing
just
is
being
one
like,
thing.
Get Jaden Daniels.
Right.
Well, that clip has turned out to be even better. At the time, though, the clip everybody was talking about was just the Barkley one about
Yes.
how they handled that.
Yes,
We
yes.
didn't, nobody, and then ultimately Jaden Daniels, as the season has gone on, that clip has gotten worse and worse for the Giants.
Howie Roseman is great. I do want
Yeah.
to make it clear, like he has figured out solutions in a different way than Brett Veach has. I think Brett Veach is a little bit more constricted because his owner don't give a lot of money out there, and the quarterback's tied to $1 billion contract.
Well, and it's nice to occasionally pick high enough to get a guy like Jalen Carter.
There you
like
go.
he fell to you, but like you got to pick near the top 10 to get that play.
exactly.
You can't do that unless she's picking 31, 32 every year.
Correct.
Yep.
So when Howie's been given the opportunity to go a different way and exceed, guess what, kids? He done succeeded just about every time with the means available to him that is slightly different than like Brendan Bean or obviously Brett Veach or even someone similar to the fact of like John Lynch. John Lynch has been constricted by John Lynch because it's like, why'd you trade all them first round picks? But congratulations, you picked Brock Purdy in the 7th round. John Lynch just has one of the most amazing front office careers. Yes, but like you succeed and then you compound it and then you succeed on top of what you compounded the issue, but then you had another issue. But like everybody knew you should have paid Brendan Ayuk. Why'd you wait till the end? Okay, whatever. Been to the Super Bowl 2 of the last 4 years.
We've got Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, in studio with us. We'll keep talking with him. I want to find out what was maybe the best story he thought and quote he got from the locker room after the Chiefs win against the Bills and how they figured out Josh Allen in short yardage. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, Casey, when I discovered my new passion, I dove into social media, got on some shows, and soon almost Andy Reid was bored. But this winter, there's something new you might discover that's not as great. Issues with your garage door. Don't get stuck in the cold. Get your annual maintenance check for just $100 or a free replacement quote from my friends at Renner Garage Door. They carry top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, trusted locally since 1956.
RENNER, RENNER.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Ad paid for by RFA Cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-790-9617. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones.
Call us now at 800-790-9617. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-790-9617. That's 800-790-9617. Again, 800-790-9617.
When this football run began a couple years ago, we were in St. Joe at camp, and how did we get up there? Well, of course, it was a brand new red truck for my friends at Max Motors. And if you're still driving the same vehicle back from a couple years ago, well, take advantage of the best financing options available at Max Motors with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. Like a new 2025 Ram 1500 up to $14,000 off MSRP. Stock number S250023. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 2/3/25. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
In the time it takes you to actually board that flight from Group 8,
Now boarding Premier Altitude Elite Club members.
you could have bought a Hyundai on Amazon. Yes, that Amazon, where you buy everything else.
Mid-tier Altitude Elite, feel free to board now.
So while you're waiting for them to make up new boarding groups, you can order your dream car and the dealer will have it ready in no time.
Now boarding groups 1 through 7.
Oh, so close. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Limited availability, pickup through participating Hyundai dealer in select markets.
If you love designer brands and you love clearance, then you're going to love this. Macy's is having a huge designer clearance event right now with incredible new designer markdowns on cold weather styles from BCBG, Hugo Boss, Michael Kors, and more. How big are the markdowns? How about Coach boots for $200 or less? So if you're looking for the things you love all in one place, come in and shop the designer clearance event at Macy's today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Meet Viant AI, the world's first fully autonomous advertising platform. With Viant AI, you can automate media planning, analyze results, and drive smarter decisions, all while saving you time and resources. Viant AI helps you unlock new potential and boost productivity regardless of your expertise. Visit Viant.ai today and see how the future of artificial intelligence in advertising can work for you.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, a contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Located in KC and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to the random question of the day. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on your Hope for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Talking about the big game, talking with our guy Nate Taylor, insider from The Athletic. I mentioned before the break, you, of course, have been in a lot of these AFC title game locker rooms, and what I think is always cool, usually you're great at having a story, and then there's a quote. Yep. There's some insight that, frankly, we don't get anywhere else. I'm curious. What's your favorite story? Maybe whether you wrote it or not, and maybe you won't end up writing it. I don't know, but just that whether it's talking to a player, a personnel, that kind of stood out that maybe fans don't realize or didn't know.
Okay, first thing, I love Eric Stone Street. Like, we make eye contact and, like, hug each other.
I didn't know Michael Bublé was in there, too. I didn't realize until after Michael Bublé was in the locker room.
I never saw him. I don't know when he was in there, he
was in there when we were in there.
Yeah,
I just did not, I'll be honest, I
didn't see
know
him.
who that was immediately.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. I did write it in The Athletic, so thank you for setting that up, Alex. I just wanted to watch how people reacted to Patrick Mahomes and just the one by one, like, just grown men being like, thank you. God, you're incredible. Thank you. Yes, again. Yes, Lord. And I'm looking it up here, but I ended the second paragraph. Teammates were high-fiving. They were dapping him up. They thanked him. Once Mahomes realized it was futile to sit back down in his chair in front of his locker, he hugged offensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, who was holding the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Those two guys are the seminal reason the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. And so as I'm talking with, and I can't remember if you were right next to me, but we were talking to like Drew Tranquil, and then I was talking to like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and out of the corner of my eye, while he was, I think, still holding the trophy, as he was like either taking pictures with like certain position groups, like, hey, linebackers and defensive line and, D-backs, I caught him out of the split second of my eye, and I went and I had the best pursuit tackle I've had all season. Because remember, kids, we do not get to talk to the coordinators on the record after a game. That's usually just reserved for Coach Andy Reid. But I mean, the man's holding the trophy. And so what I said to Spags, to get his attention after I, essentially tackled him in like one of the corners of the locker room, I said, hey, man, how in the hell did you think to blitz your best coverage corner with the season literally on the line? To which I gave the full quote to my colleague, Zach Kiefer, but essentially what he said was, I just figured, and this is quote from Steve Spagnuolo to me in the middle of all the celebration chaos, quote, I just figured they'd do something to beat man coverage. We stayed out of man. If I'm going to have somebody coming, he's a good guy to have, him being Trent McDuffie. So I got the quote of him explaining, why in the hell are you blitzing?
I just figured they're going to do something against man, so I'm not going to give him
most exotic blitz of the season.
Yes!
And I guess part of it is like sometimes it's like the guesswork of it. Like the wide receiver, for that play to work, the wide receiver on the short side's got to be close to the line too.
Yes.
Like he's lined up tight.
Yes.
How'd you know he'd be that close?
Right.
That he was going to be standing that close to the quarterback. Like some of it is just like, I can't even begin.
Yes. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Cody, because there was, if you go back and rewatch that play, because one of the best parts is that I remember talking to my editor, Mike Samsoni, and he was like, watching on TV, he fooled Tony Romo. Tony Romo's like, well, usually he blitz here, but I don't think they're coming.
Yeah.
No, they're coming. And so it's like they fooled one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They fooled one of the best former quarterbacks in the league of his era, in Tony Romo. And to your point, if you watch the play, they're giving signals. Like McDuffie's giving some signal that I think he gave early in the game to indicate a certain coverage, which means he's using their own information to get Josh Allen to think, no, it's just the same, like, hey, make sure we're doing whatever, quarters, cover two, whatever. He's giving some pre-snap signal, and then he doesn't do what the signal says at all. And then he blitzes, to your point, because it's a tight formation, because he's that close to the offensive line and he can get through the B gap. It's amazing. I told Holly in bed at like 3 a.m., whatever it was, Monday morning, it's the most sadistic blitz you could come up with for that moment of the game. He's their best quarterback. It's just like blitzing Deion Sanders when Michael Irvin's going out for a route. What are we doing? And it works. It's amazing.
There were times, I think, at different eras where you'd be like, why is Justin Houston on the coverage? I mean, if it worked, you don't care. Because like he actually covered. I'll always argue, Justin Houston's coverage there was pretty good. Like, he's not even supposed to be that close to Antonio Brown, of a different era of all of this. I thought the two best stories out of the game, one was Xavier Worthy, who I think honestly was kind of pissed at the Bills for trading the pick.
He leaned all the way
And
in, baby.
Yeah, he did full villain mode where he's like, oh, you think you're going to trade to me? And then go out and get 101 yards versus the 10 yards Keon Coleman got and all the stuff with it. But I think it's impossible. I know it's the obvious one. I think it's impossible to ignore the Kareem Hunt redemption arc.
Yes.
Because I've told him before, we talked about different players or coaches, and it's like, I'm not a disbeliever in second chances. I just want you to show remorse, show that you're trying to change your life, change your life for the better. I'm not saying you can't have another chance in life or don't deserve another one. It just wants to. I want to be able to feel like you're the person who deserves it. Kareem genuinely seems like he's filled with joy over just getting the chance to do this thing. And you go back and you think about when he got pulled over and he's like, I should be playing in the Super Bowl and all this other stuff. His redemption arc is incredible.
You'll read about that in the Athletic.
Okay.
Next week.
There we go.
You'll read about that. It's it's one of those things where we made an educated guess. And that's sometimes how this works in media, ladies and gentlemen. I can't write every story every week. So I wrote about Travis Kelce last week. I wrote about Andy Reid last week. I wrote about Mahomes before the Texans game, more in-depth, longer stories of the season. And I told my editors, I'm like, if they go to the Super Bowl, I will write about Kareem Hunt because of all the things that you guys have just said. And we'll continue to say over the course of the next, 2 weeks. I never, ever, 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 ever thought I'd see Kareem Hunt in person ever again, let alone talk to him. And for it to go this way is that might be the most mind-blowing part of this season to me. Because I remember when I got wind that they had talked, and this, by the way, might be in the Athletic a week from now or however many days before the Super Bowl. They had talked to Kareem, I want to say after training camp, or there was some what do they call touch point? Some just checking in, Now, what you remember is they actually signed Samaje Perine because he was cut from the Denver Broncos.
That's right.
But they knew he's still working out. He's still motivated. How he feeling after that whole surgery he had in the offseason? Okay, we're just checking in, just touch points. And then you would never want Isaiah Pacheco to be injured because I thought Isaiah Pacheco had a great offseason, especially coming off of his impressive run in the postseason last year. But he breaks his fibula. He walks out of Arrowhead Stadium with a walking boot. In less than 24 hours from that moment, they were already on the phone with Kareem Hunt. Think about that. Think about how freaking nuts that was, that they had to alert Clark Hunt and say, hey, for all of these reasons, can we just bring him in for a workout? That was the question.
He felt better about it because they had all talked at Mahomes' wedding.
Yes. But the question they asked Clark Hunt was, can we just bring him in for a workout? Let's bring him in for a workout. Because I don't think Clark was there. I think Clark was either somewhere else or back in Texas, Dallas specifically, Okay. All right. So he comes in, does the workout, and they're like, if we give it 2 to 3 weeks, we might have something. Guys, he played 10 days later and helped them beat the Chargers. It was nuts.
Yeah, Carson Steele has the early fumble, and it was over. I mean, honestly, it was over at that point.
Yes.
That was the last we heard of Carson Steele.
Yes. Yeah. And they were, Andy was like, well, I thought I'd give him a couple, maybe 6-8 touches. Hey, dog, you ready? They just said hey, dog, you ready? Go on and get out there. Also, that's the same game where Rashee Rice is being carted to the locker room. So a lot of things happened in that game, but that's some of the backstory. And again, when I caught wind of it and you do some of the initial reporting, you're just like, this is stunning. I never thought this was even possible.
That's an unbelievable story, and I'm sure, as you said, whether it's in the Athletic, it'll be talked about a ton next week. The redemption story for Kareem Hunt. What's also crazy is in this past game against the Bills, another player that was not part of the original plan had the second most receiving yards for this team. I'm, of course, talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, he wasn't part of the plan. When we were at the first day at Insane Show, he wasn't there.
That was confusing.
I'm like, what?
Well, he hasn't been around for like a month.
And
Right.
he had
6 weeks. I don't know.
He had a huge game in Week 5 against the Saints.
Yes.
And other than that, really, you know, he's an underrated blocker. He
so
really
good.
he has helped him big time in blocking.
Yes.
But in terms of in the box score, it's really only been this game and the Saints game that's really had, a box score impact, but he does a lot of the little things too.
And what's funny is because, and I think this is like the brilliance of some of the coaching they've done, when he's on the field, we think he's going to be a great blocker. Maybe a guy who's going to just sit down in a zone, just give me like a 5-yard sit down route, be available.
Make somebody else work a little.
Yeah. Wait, he's going right behind me on an RPO to start the bleeping game? Like, it's the brilliance of the coaching. It's just like, well, we've kind of been, just setting you up all season for this to run RPOs to Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. It's absurd. It really is absurd. And that guy who had 117 yards last week, the Hall of Famer Travis Kelce. Yeah, we'll just use him every now and then when we want to just embarrass Matt Milano. And we don't even have to do that a ton because we have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster.
He also had a great blocking day, too, by the way.
Exactly.
Travis Kelce was just out there working.
Yes.
Like, Noah Gray hasn't done anything in 2 weeks now. I fully expect in the Super Bowl. I'm serious.
Two-touchdown game.
In the Super
Is
Bowl,
that what we're betting on? A two-touchdown game from Noah Gray
is scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He hasn't done anything in 2 weeks, and the Eagles aren't thinking Noah Gray will have a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I don't know I have to look at the odds. I might actually make that bet today.
Please tell me the prop bet next week, please. Oh.
I mean, you can bet it anytime touchdown right now. Usually anytime touchdown market's not good. But to your point, this is why Andy Reid, he's the best. Matt Nagy gets a lot of credit, of course, for the game planning during the week as well.
Right.
Anytime touchdown, Noah Gray, if you're wondering. 6-1. 6-1.
Take it.
What's for 2 touchdowns? What if I just
I already closed it.
Real
quick. He's not having 2 touchdowns, I don't think. But
you sure?
No, I'm not sure. 90 to 1. 90 to 1.
90 to 1. Cash in, boys.
So, think about the same thing.
Let's go ahead and do $10 to win 900 right now.
Let's do it.
I'm just telling you right now. I know we won 390 in the show bet. Can we just make one more bet? And we'll just make $10 for Noah Gray. 2 touchdowns. Those shirts will be paid for. Because the truth is, it's not just a Juju thing. You forget about how many of those things. If I had told you before the game that they would out Josh Allen in the running game, they used that touchdown run is a Josh Allen play.
Yes.
They stole that directly from the Bills playbook, used it themselves, and then Josh Allen both had more rushing touchdowns and rushing yards than Josh Allen, a person who has designed runs inside their offense.
Yes.
They weaponized the Bills offense against him. It was silly.
Yeah. It's all great.
Crazy.
It's all great. And I remember telling people, and I know you were upset because they lost their first game of the season, and that's natural. But I told them, I told everybody I could tell, guys, the Bills had to win that game for the chase that was at the time for the 1 seed. They had to win that game. They were the only team close enough to catch the Chiefs for the 1 seed. The Chiefs did not have to win that game. On Sunday, the Chiefs had to win. And guess what, guys? You saw all the schemes, all the concepts, all the plays, all the formations where it was like, oh, we have to win to keep our season going along. Oh, that's right. It's different than bleepy November 17th. Okay? There's a difference, kids, between wanting to win and have to win. The Chiefs are in have to win mode, which is why you should enjoy this time. Like I said when I first came on, they have to win the three-peat now, kids. You should enjoy it, regardless of what everybody else says. They have to win. And guess what? To Cody's point, they just said, why don't we have Travis Kelce and freaking Noah Gray as lead blockers for Patrick Mahomes in a have-to-have-it game?
Crazy.
Nate, we know you got to run, man. You're busy. We appreciate you coming in the studio. Nate Taylor is presented by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750. While we were talking to Nate there at the end, the ratings for the game came out.
Ooh.
Chiefs Bills averaged 57.4 million viewers on CBS,
That
the
seems high.
most watched AFC title game ever. A lot of hate watching out there. A lot of hate watching out there.
But I saw a bunch of people who said, I'm not watching
That's
the Chiefs in this Super Bowl. Not the NFL league.
There's a lot of parallels to other things in recent years with how people are discussing the Chiefs. I'm not going to watch it because of this reason or this conspiracy. There's a lot of parallels. It's kind of all happening over, but this time we're talking about it with the Chiefs. It's
Sometimes
weird.
the rating things are funny to me because I still think that I think Netflix was talking about like 8 trillion people tried to watch Tyson. I'm like, 8 trillion people didn't try to watch
You
it.
guys mentioned Travis Kelce. Is there anybody that does a little pirouette move when he catches the ball and does a little curl?
Oh, he's mastered.
He is unstoppable, and it doesn't matter whether he's slow Travis Kelce or prime Travis Kelce. Whenever he catches that ball, nobody
you know which way he's going.
He's doing the little curl.
My wife said the same thing. Like she'd mentioned that play because like even she's watching a Chiefs game now that she's like, that thing looks like it's in slow motion. I can't understand. I can't understand how defensive players can't stop it. It doesn't even look fast.
It isn't.
Nope.
It doesn't look like it looks like he's moving in quicksand and they can't stop it. I don't even understand. It's funny to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Thanks again, Nate Taylor from The Athletic. All right, let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. Drew, over on the text line, 913-586-7965. We'll continue to tell you, over on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, like, subscribe. Go check us over there. Try to get in the chats there a little bit. We'll take your answers there as well. We were actually, I had a different one planned, but then we were talking a little bit in the break. And so now I'm curious where everyone else stands. I'm always interested to find out if I'm in the minority or the majority of a situation. So, Drew, you can give your answer as well. Are you interested? The random question every day is, are you interested in like commemorative issues of things? So like I got the email from the Kansas City Star today that says, hey, commemorative Super Bowl issue coming out now. You are interested? And I said, for me, right? Like not for me. I'm not buying newspapers to hang on the wall. Like my general thought was like, people don't want those things, do they?
Yes, they do.
I found out from Alex and I believe Nate that at least they're two people who were like, no, it looks good. People hang them on their wall. You'd be surprised at how many people want it. So I wanted to find out from the text line and from our listeners how many people do purchase that kind of thing. And if you purchase it, is it sitting in a stack? Do you frame it? What do you do with it? Because my fear is you'd buy it, it just collect dust for 10 years, and you'd be like, the hell did I buy this newspaper for?
So just for me, I can tell you it depends. If I order prints, so I showed you the photo during the break. I actually just got these as a gift this past holiday season because I didn't have some from the other years. These are prints that are framed. They're the front covers from the Star.
Prints, not the actual paper.
Yeah, so King Them, Buy Eagles Buy, Dynastic Finish, right? Those were the headlines. And I showed you, and they're framed up, and I think they look pretty good. I also have the actual paper. Now, those are still just in a box and covered. And I don't know what I'm doing with it. I don't know. Those are the actual paper. But
Shouldn't you frame those?
The prints look good. They just look clean and good. So I have those framed up. But the actual prints, I have that. I still had McGuire, the home run chase, 98.
You still got that?
Yeah. The problem is I didn't know. Now I know better. At the time, I didn't know. I was a kid when I had this. I was 7 years old. Okay, so I didn't know proper storage of said that because anybody that knows, the paper will turn yellow over time if you don't have it.
Yeah.
The oxygen gets to it or whatever.
Yeah, text line's talking about that.
So that one's kind of ruined. If you store it properly, there's certain containers you can put it in or frames where the oxygen won't get to it and turn the paper yellow.
What am I, a museum now? I'm having to preserve a 10-cent newspaper made of ink?
You know I like memorabilia. We've talked about this. I'm more in the memorabilia stuff. Drew, what about you?
So your answer might surprise me.
I know there's no Cincinnati front cover,
looks more
front
50-50,
pages
by the
of
way, in the
Super
text
Bowls.
line. One person said, nah, F that. One person says, yeah, I get them all. They sell. One person said, I'm not buying that, Austin.
No, so I don't have any Bengals things, even when they went to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But my grandparents,
that's right. They did go
so I do like the commemorative stuff. So my grandparents, big Packers fans, lived in Madison forever. They would send like handwritten notes. Like I'd get handwritten notes from my grandpa or from my grandma or whatever, and they would include like a newspaper clipping of said commemorative thing where, the Pack are back or whatever, and it would be a big thing of Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers getting, celebrating going to the Super Bowl or winning a Super Bowl, and they would send those to me. So I appreciate those things, and I do like them. Of course, not framed or anything like that, but I do like the commemorative, that sort of stuff. Or if
I don't buy like plates or spoons. It all feels like it's in the same
plates or spoons.
Like the commemorative stuff. It all feels like it's in the same vein for me.
For instance, if
I'm not buying the coin or whatever
right?
thing. I don't
the
buy that.
football with champions or whatever. Like, and it might say back to back to back. It would actually be like more.
I don't think I would.
I just don't buy a lot.
So in my example, if the Bengals ever win a Super Bowl, I don't think I would get the football, but I would get like the magazine, or I would get the DVD, like whatever.
I have
like
the Sports Illustrated covers and
the
stuff.
season celebration, essentially, where I would go back. I don't know if you guys ever got that for the Chiefs, where they have the DVD that is the recap of the entire
But
season.
I recently threw it away. I had one newspaper, and
Okay.
it was from the Kansas City Star when I was technically a published photographer when I took a photo down at spring training when I was the Royals insider, and the Star's photographer wasn't down there. I took a photo of Billy Hamilton. They printed it in the real paper, and I was like, "What the hell am I holding on for?"
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's so funny. Like,
And I took the photo.
Billy Hamilton.
I have an apartment, so I don't have room for everything. But like, I've whether it was I have the frame panoramic from the Miami Super Bowl. Like, my goal is to get another couple of it. I finally got all the Prince frame from the Super Bowls.
Would be cool.
My goal, however many titles the Chiefs win in this run, I don't know whether it's going to be 3, whether it's going to be 7, is eventually to have the panoramic from all 6. If that's what they end up winning.
That's a lot of wall space.
And I already have one panoramic and 3 of the covers, so I need to get caught up on the panoramics. Maybe I'll have to get another frame print if the Chiefs win in a couple weeks in New Orleans. So,
I feel like it's one of those things where, like, if for like the gear, like you were saying, the commemorative stuff, it might be like the DVD celebrating the season. It's
all digital now.
Maybe
anyway.
that, or maybe you just get it once, but now they go to so many, or they've won enough now where I don't feel that need anymore.
I guess here's a follow-up question for the random question real quick. So let's say they win 7 Super Bowls and you get 7 panoramics. Is that a deal or no deal for you in a relationship? If she's like, we're not putting that on the wall.
Yeah, so I recognize
like,
not everything.
It can't be a deal or no deal situation.
Well, I'm asking. Some people have deal breakers, right? I'm asking if that's a deal breaker for Alex. That's all.
I would understand. I can't have every single thing on there. Now, again, I'm in an apartment now, but if I had a house and I had a nice sized basement and kind of
can I hang it up down there?
Yeah,
a man cave is a different story.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's a little bit different. That's the thing. I got plenty of stuff where if I actually had a real office or something, I got plenty of stuff to put on the wall. I got some stuff in storage, and there's some things that are up. But yeah, like I don't know. Everybody's different on it. Obviously, people are bringing up. They buy the special wine bottles or the
mono ones. Yeah,
the wine or whatever Bud Light's done special bottles, Boulevard's done special things, Rieger's done special things. Like everybody's different.
So it's like a whole collector's
to me,
item.
it's just like I know some of it might seem silly, but we are in the golden era of sports right now, and 30 years from now, this team could suck, and we'd be like, man, remember when they were actually good 30 years ago? Like, you just never know what's going to end.
Do you remember back in 2000?
A lot of people waited their whole lives like for this time, never could have dreamt that this football team, that this city would have the best team in all of sports right now, an organization of sports, and it's insane. And so I don't know, memories, man. Your kids, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm sentimental when it comes to sports memorabilia and stuff like that.
From the 913, have a Boston Globe paper from the day we landed on the moon. Are you sure?
I live in fear. I live in fear of like me dying and my kids going through my stuff and be like, the hell they holding on to all this for?
Of course.
I live in fear of that.
Well,
moment.
I'm not saying to hold on. Like I don't need my 3rd grade art project. I mean, get rid of that, please. Okay, like I don't need the 3rd grade art project.
Yeah.
But darn it, the signed helmet from maybe the greatest quarterback in NFL history. Yeah, I kind of want that thing still.
Yeah, I think it's all just levels.
Is there anything from your childhood, Cody, that you still have that you did like project wise or anything like that?
Nope. I mean, my parents didn't save it, so I don't have it.
My parents have too much of that stuff.
I mean, I have like 10 photos of me as a kid. That's it. I don't even have that many of those.
Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. Up next, we talked about a little bit with Nate Taylor. Let's get back to that 2022 draft class, plus a little all 32 in the NFL.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all day freshness.
Buying and selling a home is stressful. You want the best team on your side, and that's my friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. To find the current value of your home, go to homesforsaleandkc.com. Click on the button, How much is your home really worth? Then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses, you can do that with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com.
Jewelry Gram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with a natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue Sauce and Seasonings. Gates Seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Super Bowl 59. One game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who'll take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program. It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bag all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
When I wake up
The best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. You're listening to the home of the back-to-back-to-back AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Back here on Cody and Gold, 1 o'clock hour on a Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good day. Sun's out. Weather's going to be really nice the next couple of days. Feeling good. Super Bowl next week. Kind of still can just enjoy stress-free week. Enjoy that everybody's talking about you, that the team's headed back to the Super Bowl, good or bad. They're talking about you. Next week, you start to really get into normal game week. But right now, it's like this is a free week of just enjoying the fact that this team, that this city is center stage yet again. And obviously, your home for the Chiefs is 96.5 The Fan. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon talking with you for another Super Bowl run.
Our big game coverage on 96.5 is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. I got to ask you something. So in the break, I was coming back. One of the front office people was talking to me, and so we were chatting. So I went in through a different door, and I happened to pass by Carrington Harrison's office.
Okay.
As I was walking past his door, Scott Parks went into his office. Carrington then looked for just wanted to be dabbed up. And I said, no. I won't dab you up.
You refused to dab him up?
Because I thought, and this is what I accused him of, I said, you're making Scott Parks go into your office to get his headphones that belong to him. Because it's a well-established thing that Carrington is constantly borrowing Scott Parks' headphones. I was wrong. That's not what Scott Parks was going in there for. Do I need to apologize to Carrington?
So you're turning down...
Yes.
Yeah, you're turning...
What? He's guilty of it 80% of the time. I'm right 80% of the time I make that accusation.
Sure.
That was rude. You said he was just trying to be nice, dab you up, and you said, no, that's rude,
You guys have...
an apology?
To peel back the curtain a little bit,
I apologize, Carrington. Let it be known. This is an official apology.
To peel back the curtain a little bit more, you do get... I think it's notably you, Cody, who gets a little bit frustrated when Carrington tries to dap you up 5 times within the span of 10 minutes.
Yeah, I told him that 2 inside of 5 minutes is too much. He came back for a second one a week ago, and I told him no. I only refused this one due to the fact I thought he was making somebody else retrieve their property in his office. I'll apologize. If I'm in the wrong here, I'm not afraid to admit I'm wrong. I also think Carrington should get on Amazon and order some headphones that work under all circumstances, but I think he should apologize for that, and then we can be even.
True.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Carrington.
We'll get to all 30.
I flew off the handle.
We'll get to all 32 here in about 8 minutes or so. We were alluding to this with Nate Taylor, though, when he joined us last hour, about just the draft success of both Howie Roseman and Brett Veach, but also the moves that they make and just how forward-thinking you have to be. And yes, there's some luck involved to a certain extent, right? I'm sure timing is everything. But the way he described how the conversations they had with Kareem Hunt, and then ultimately fast forward to they had to sign him based off of the injury to Pacheco, and the Juju Smith-Schuster move. When he was brought in, they didn't know Rashee Rice was going to get hurt, but he did, and so they had a fallback plan. Just so many of these moves. And then you look at the draft class of 2022 where they had the extra first-round pick because they were willing to trade Tyreek Hill after they wanted to sign him to extension, but we all know that the dollar amount got too high, so they trade him away. And that draft class is why
the single biggest move in this franchise history outside of drafting Mahomes, maybe.
Not why they've won rings, because Mahomes and Andy Reid are the two biggest factors, but why it's a dynasty? It's because of the 2022 draft class. Why they're going for a three-peat? It's the 2022 draft class. When you have a draft class of McDuffie, Karlaftis, for starters, with the 2 first-round picks you got thanks to the Tyreek Hill trade, and then Cook, Chanel's come up huge on special teams and defense. We can keep going through the list. Jalen Watson, Josh Williams, Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, these are big-time contributors. 2 of them are stars. One's an all-pro, but these are huge names that are part of this run, and some of those names could end up getting massive contracts here very, very soon. I'm mostly talking about Trent McDuffie, of course. That's why this is extended out. They won a ring initially and have won rings because they got the best quarterback and the best coach in the sport, no doubt. But you could be any organization. It's why the Patriots were a dynasty. They were willing to trade assets at the right time. They drafted well at one point in time.
It's the both part of it. I do not think we are sitting here in Kansas City talking about the chance for a three-peat for the first time in the Super Bowl era if they do not take what is a massive swing in trading Tyreek Hill. And you have to go back in time. They tried to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
They offered him a contract. He had, by all accounts, verbally agreed to that number. And then, thank you, Devontae Adams.
And the Raiders.
Gets even more money. And Tyreek Hill goes back to the table, says, well, I mean, the number is different now, which is all his right. Nothing against, this happens in contracts all the time. But because the number got so high, they decided to take a swing. But it's not just trading Tyreek Hill. You have to get it right. This is a reminder for anybody who doesn't remember the entire 2022 draft class. They got, as part of the Tyreek Hill trade and the ability to move up and down in that draft, Trent McDuffie, an all-pro corner, George Karlaftis, I would argue Pro Bowl caliber defensive end. Maybe he's not always a Pro Bowler, but he's in that vein. Double-digit sack guy. Brian Cook, who plays starter snaps at safety. Sky Moore, that didn't work out. Leo Chanel is a perfect role-playing, do-everything defensive player. Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, and Najee Johnson. The only other guy I didn't mention was Darian Kennard, who is actually still on an NFL roster. He's a backup offensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. That will probably go down as the single greatest draft in the Brett Veach era. Unless he drafts 2 Hall of Famers in one. Because we know what Dorsey says. He did draft 2 Hall of Famers. He drafted Chris Jones and Travis Kelce in the same draft, didn't he? Or not.
2 years apart or a year
2 years
apart
apart or
like
whatever.
that.
So, we get it.
Same.
So, barring some of the, he drafts a bunch of future Hall of Famers in a draft, and for all we know, maybe McDuffie or whatever turns into that down the road. This is why they have a chance for the three-peat. Yeah, Mahomes and Reed and the obvious reasons that don't make it possible. If you don't have Mahomes, you don't get a three-peat.
Right.
If you don't have Reed, you don't get a three-peat. I would argue this is the third biggest reason. That trade and this draft. To me, they're one. Those subsequent moves. Because you have to nail it. You can't just trade Tyreek Hill. You actually have to have a draft like this.
And the same thing applies for this to extend beyond this year. And I know we're live in the moment going for a three-peat, but if you think this can go for another 3 years in terms of getting the Super Bowls and things like that, it's going to require them in a year like this where they have an extra third-round pick, it's going to require them having a couple hits because you're going to not only lose some pieces, but knowing the contracts that are on, you can't pay everybody. And yet you still have to build a championship roster. And that's why Brett Veach is the best GM in football. I know Howie Roseman is terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific. But Brett Veach, to me, is the best GM in football. He's the GM of this run. And we just highlighted the draft class they've put together. And
every year you get somebody that helps, even in down drafts, right?
Look,
where
somebody will
you don't
say
get enough good players.
Somebody will say, well, yeah, his job's easy. He has Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, but the contract that Mahomes warrants, and I'm guessing restructure again maybe this offseason, your decisions in other areas are tougher and how you prioritize certain positions. They're going to have to make a tough decision this offseason probably on Trey Smith. Great player, great person. Probably not going to be able to afford him. That's a tough decision to make, but it's probably the right one financially for the team if, in fact, they move on from him. Same with Nick Bolton, same with other guys in the past. They could have, there was a lot of people that believe they should have let Chris Jones walk.
Yeah.
They didn't. And boy, oh boy, where would they be without him this year?
It's crazy. The players they have chosen, what a hit rate for Brett Veach. The players they have chosen to walk on versus the players they have chosen to deal. Because it would have been just as easy to be like, dude, you guys just see how much success we had trading away Tyreek Hill? Let's just do the same thing with Chris Jones. Let's just franchise him and send him to another team and get a couple of picks and kind of do whatever. No, paying Chris Jones was the right choice.
Well,
it was the right choice.
I think, was it last week, Cody, or was it or was it yesterday, where you talked about a pie chart in terms of who's most responsible
Veach, Mahomes, and
for this dynasty? Because I thought about it, I was like, Veach probably about 10%. But in thinking about the overall setup, when we talk about the draft class, if we had to split the pie up, I would go 40 Mahomes, 40 Andy, and 20 Veach, because Veach helps create the room that is there for everybody. He brings up the roster. He gets everybody in the positions that they need them to be, and then Andy Reid does his thing, and then Patrick Mahomes is the icing on the cake, where Andy is the great coach. Mahomes is the one who sets everything over the top that Josh Allen hasn't been able to do, Lamar Jackson hasn't been able to do, Joe Burrow hasn't been able to do. But it all goes back to the GM, where fundamentally, Brett Veach is very much responsible, at least for, I would say, 15 to 20% of the pie of why they are as successful as they are.
It was it was a perfect draft. Nearly. I understand that no draft is perfect, but
But the theme here in that
7
year,
contributors.
it helps.
in a
That year
single
you had
draft is
2
nuts.
first-round picks, and you had look at all the names you listed off. They had a ton of picks that year, and it was because of the trade. But that's still part of the formula for this is acquiring more draft picks one way or the other.
They
whether
should
it's
become more
trading down
Patriots like that. Yeah,
trading down in the draft or whatever. You give Brett Veach in this front office 3 more chances to hit on a pick, even if they're a bunch of 4th, 5th round picks. I like the shot at them hitting on one. They've done that. So
what's funny though is he is historically way more likely to trade up. Brett Veach. Way more likely to trade up and lose picks than do this.
Yeah, for a while though, it was that they weren't willing.
They traded up in that draft.
But for a while it was that he wouldn't. I remember the first year
yeah.
they wouldn't trade up. They wouldn't trade up in the first round, and then obviously the times they've done it for Worthy and for McDuffie,
it's hit big time.
I would say it paid off pretty well.
Thanks, Bills. And they didn't trade with the Bills for McDuffie. They traded above the Bills. Who did they trade with for that one?
It's a great question. I honestly
Anybody
don't know.
remember?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm just trying to remember.
I don't know why the Cowboys feel like it, but I have no idea.
Was that the one where the Cowboys wanted that like defensive lineman? Like, who are you taking? And like, well,
Who
I'm not
was
telling
Are
you.
Are you Googling it right now?
Yeah.
Now you have me curious about it, so I just might as well give me an answer on this one now, because now it's like
Now
one of
you're
those going to
like-
drive me crazy otherwise.
Washington. No, wait, that's who he traded for him. I was like, wait, is it Washington? I was looking at
Who was occupying and holding on to that pick before?
It was right before the Bills, right? It was literally the pick before?
Yeah.
Patriots.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the Patriots.
Jeez.
From one dynasty to another, you know? There you go.
Pass the torch right there.
May we trade?
Yeah. Let's
That
get
was
to,
still in the Bill Belichick here. He loves trading down.
let's get to all 32. So there's only one vacancy left, head coaching wise in the league. That's the New Orleans Saints, where the Super Bowl is taking place. I don't know. Are they going to announce it next week, and that's going to be their
I
little
thought that was the
celebration?
whole NFL's thing. They don't
You're
like
not supposed to. They don't want you to.
Super Bowl week.
So maybe it'll be this week still. They have a vacancy. The fact that this is the last job remaining shows how terrible of a spot that organization is. I understand the Cowboys. I wouldn't want to be in their spot because of ownership. I don't think the Saints have bad ownership, but they've
just don't
allowed
let it
a
lose.
general manager there to create problem after problem, and they have a ton of cap mess on their hands. Derek Carr, what do you do? He's not going to just give them a free pass out of the contract. That division's not brutal, luckily, for them. Like it's not. You don't have a Bills, a Chiefs, or a Baltimore, or Cincinnati type of thing. So it's a division where you can recover quick. But they're just in a really bad spot. That's why it's the last job to fill. McCarthy, there's reports out that the meetings haven't gone well. He doesn't agree with the power structure. Kellen Moore's interviewing. The Eagles OC is interviewing for the Saints job as well. I don't know. Maybe Kellen Moore is ultimately who gets that job, but it just tells you how bad of a spot that is. Despite the Raiders, the jokes about that organization, the Saints in the short term with the cap, there's very little I think you can do. And the Saints didn't fire their GM, correct? Loomis is still there.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
If you're going to take that job, you better be the kind of guy like Kellen Moore. Because if you're like, how do I get a second job in the NFL? Be an offensive coordinator who's pretty young. Because you can get fired from that Saints job in 3 years when you haven't won because you can't. Because it's I think it is an unwinnable cap and roster situation. Then you can go back and be the OC for a really good team. The Eagles get rid of their guy, the Chiefs, whatever, right? And if you have success there, somebody else will give you a chance in a few years. So, like, you got to be in that. If you think it might be your only chance at a head coaching job, just prepare that you're never getting a head coaching job again. You're taking that one to get fired. Like when D'Amico Ryan's gap year existed and you knew you were taking that Texans job just to get canned. Not D'Amico, the guy before.
Cullen or whatever?
Yeah.
Or,
Dave,
No.
What was him? Dave Cullen, right? The former Chiefs guy.
Oh, gosh.
David Cullen?
Is that right?
Either way, you were taking the job to get fired. Just avoid that.
Coley.
Coley, sorry.
I think.
Coley.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're right.
I don't know if I'm right.
Dude, I don't know. He got fired.
David Coley. I think
It was
David Coley.
Nailed it. He was taking that job to get fired is the point.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that stood out to me on all 32 this week is that people are talking about Dalton Kincaid and Mark Andrews' situation as if they are the same screw up at the end of the game that cost their team the game. Excuse me? Dalton Kincaid had to stop his route in the middle of running it, completely change his momentum, and throw his body towards a lame duck pass because of what was happening on the pressure end of Josh Allen. Mark Andrews had the ball hit him in the chest and a normally run route 2 yards away from the football, not 20 yards down the field. These are not the same situation. What I think is happening here is Buffalo Bills fans are taking out misplaced anger over a player that they wish was better who is not better than they thought he was, these situations are not the same. The Mark Andrews miss is far more significant than Kincaid's screw up there. I don't even know why they're being compared, other than they play tight end.
Would have been a really, really tough catch for Kincaid, his momentum and everything. I think you're correct on the overarching view of him in Buffalo. When they drafted him, I think even Kansas City people were looking at him. Hey, this is a guy that could be Kelsey-like, stretch the field out of a tight end, have him in the slot. He's been fine. He's been fine.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid has not become the potential star tight end. They've seen now years of Laporta and these other guys come into the league, and that's a big reason why I think people are frustrated in Buffalo with Kincaid, even though I'm with you. The Mark Andrews drop was way, way more unacceptable.
I don't even think they're the same. I don't think they're in the same stratosphere. Yeah. I think the only reason they're actually being compared is because they both play tight end. I think if it's a wide receiver, it's Khalil Shakir that dies for that, and it's incomplete. They don't even make the comparison. They're just like, tight ends can't catch. And you're like, it's not how it works.
Was that a Gronk?
Oh, it's just like a dumb person.
Was that a Gronk?
It's a dumb person.
Was that
impression.
a Gronk?
Just a dumb person impression. They can't speak right. They're just like, I was a big dummy. That's all. That was the voice I was doing.
Okay. So my all 32, it was gonna be about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess it can be a double. They say they're gonna pick one, probably either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields.
Wait. They know that other people are available, right? That they don't have to sign either of those players.
If it's going to be one of them, it should be Justin Fields, whether he's the starter or not, just because I think he's got the better upside. Let Russell Wilson go and then figure things out from there. But also, if you didn't know the Pro Bowl was a joke, did you guys see who was just added to the Pro Bowl? Quarterback Drake May is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
So was Mac Jones, right?
What? Excuse me?
What?
Drake May?
Josh
How
Allen,
many people said no
That's
before they
because
got Drake May?
Allen's done, and Mahomes wasn't going to be an alternate because he's in the Super Bowl.
I understand, but let me give you. So it's Josh Allen was voted, he's out. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, and now Drake May. The quarterbacks,
that's worse than Drake May
AFC
somehow.
quarterbacks who were better than Drake May this year, who were not in there. Aaron Rodgers was better than Drake May this year.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert was better than him. Mm-hmm. Also better. Bo Nix, significantly better than Drake May.
Was Drake May the only person who would take the invite? This is a serious question.
Know.
Was Drake May the only person who would make it on a week's notice?
You had to jump at least 4 or 5 other quarterbacks. Tua, not invited, evidently, or maybe he was. C.J. Stroud did not go.
At least get us some entertainment.
I'm just saying.
I do think it's a lot of players that just said, I'm not going.
That's what you need to know. The Pro Bowl's a joke completely because of, obviously, that reason. We already kind of knew it, but Drake May is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Think about all the names. Actually, what are Lamar and Joe Burrow even doing? What is Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow even doing?
They're having a good time. That's all I can say.
Anymore.
They're having a good time.
I will say,
Josh Allen's too heartbroken.
This is really a plea. We can complain about the NFL all we want. I need to put a voice out to the people of the world.
Oh.
This is really your all's fault. Who are the 17 million of you that continue to give the NFL the viewership on this? Stop it. Stop.
NFL's king.
Stop it.
Back to that.
Stop putting on the TV. Choose a Netflix show, something on Prime, watch some college hoops, go outside and touch grass. Literally do anything, but give the NFL the viewership on that Pro Bowl game. Because if you want it to die, then you have to let it die by no longer giving them the engagement that they seek. It is your fault that Drake May is heading to Orlando or wherever the hell that game is. Is that where it is? Wherever the Pro Bowl game
is. Yeah.
This is your fault. Stop watching it.
Look, if somebody wants to watch Joe Burrow play flag football, it's not my cup of tea, but you know what? You go right ahead. Go right ahead. I will not watch it on Sunday.
Watch Jack Caglione in a spring training game. Do anything but watch that. I did see he was the 60th best prospect, according to Baseball America. They only had 2 prospects in the top 100. Jack Caglione was in the top 60.
Okay.
This is the way that Cody feels.
I think
TV off, turn his TV off.
Yeah.
Turn his TV off.
You got to do something else. Listen to music. Stop it. Stop watching that game.
Turn his TV off.
You guys are forcing the NFL to keep playing this damn game. If we all just agree for 1 year, nobody watches.
That's true. The text line's correct. The text line's right. For those of you that are upset because the Chiefs are winning and you think it's all rigged, you can watch a game that has 0 officiating impact at all. You can watch flag football on Sunday. You enjoy yourself. Please do that.
Can you bet on the Pro Bowl games?
I'm sure.
You are
degenerate.
You are sick.
You used to be when it was an actual game. When it was an actual game, you were able to. I don't know now that they do these these contests or whatever.
Somebody mentioned it as
Pro
well.
Bowl, here you go, Drew, Cody. Drew will watch. I know Drew's watching. AFC
I'm not
AFC
going
is
to
-1.5 spread. AFC
Oh
flag
my
football.
gosh.
Total 88.5 points.
88.5? Damn. I think it's some
This is
scoring
just for the
gonna
flag football game, not the other skill challenges. Yeah.
What time is that? I get it's like the middle of the.
It says Sunday at 2:01 Central.
Okay, yeah, it's a 3 o'clock.
You're gonna be right in front of your TV screen and watch Joey B.
I promise I will not be watching that.
I'm begging you not to.
I don't watch the look. I might watch the. I think I haven't even watched the game as much as I have the random little contest that they do. Like last year, I watched like Jason Kelsey snapping a ball.
NFL Mario Party is what it is. It's the Mario Party video game, but NFL edition.
I like playing Mario Party.
I do too.
Do that instead of watch the games.
Watch them play Mario Party.
Just play Mario Party.
It's something you have
Just
on like
get
in
out
the
of the
background that you're
system.
not paying attention to.
But do anything else.
Can you promise?
Pay not
all right,
attention
can,
to
we,
anything
can you
else.
promise me one thing though? I know you said you won't watch it. Maybe that's true. Can you promise me though?
You want me to live tweet
No,
or send a video out?
No. Just promise me one thing. No matter what happens during that, I don't care if Joe Burrow has the most insane throw. Please do not act like if you send out a tweet.
It makes it seem like it's cool.
If you send out a tweet that says Joey B, my guy, as if it's like it's a Pro Bowl throw, it doesn't matter in a flag football game. I don't know. You sure?
That's not gonna happen.
I don't know, man.
We need some
Hold on.
some guarantees.
Unless he does a backflip and throws the ball while doing the backflip and it's a touchdown for like 40 yards. Maybe there's an exception, but it's not.
Fine, but it's got to be minimum backflip. We agree.
I'm not.
Yes,
if he does a behind the back little thing,
I mean-
it's not gonna. I'm not gonna. I might retweet something like if it's a video, but I'm not gonna send out. Oh my gosh, look at this play. I'm probably gonna be watching NASCAR. Actually, they start up this weekend. Bink and I are fired up.
Watch that instead. That's fine.
There's nothing on the line in that either, but I'd rather watch that than the Pro Bowl. Believe me, because the Pro Bowl stinks.
Yeah.
And has for a long time.
By the way, you mentioned Bink. I believe he's hosting tonight.
Shout out to Bink. He's back.
Isn't he doing something tonight, or is he
Yeah.
recording a podcast? Maybe. Sorry, maybe he's doing a podcast. Maybe I misspoke.
Either way, Binkley will be in the building.
He's. I think he's got some content he's working on. So that's awesome. We're excited about that as well. Up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll talk a bit more about the odds that are already out there for the MVP. It tells us the gap that exists between these two quarterbacks.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. Over 5 million happy players, $2 billion won. Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all of your favorite athletes' performances. Look, the big game's coming up in a week and a half. Maybe you like Xavier Worthy to go higher than 4.5 receptions. Maybe you like Patrick Mahomes to go higher than 219.5 passing yards. All you got to do is think of what players you like, choose higher or lower than those, and make those entries to win real cash prizes all playoffs long from your couch on the Missouri side. Create entries with all your football selections, mix and match sports, maybe like the NBA tonight. Those are all choices over at Underdog. It's the only champs platform that puts the power to cash in your hands. Now you can either keep it riding with your entry or tap win now to cash out whenever you want. And with their double flex option, you might take 2 L's and still turn it into a W. Underdog is the best place to play. Sign up and deposit now with promo code TAPP, TAPP, for up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're on the Missouri side, an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operate. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderDogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Steve here for Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. It's cold. I bet you are starting to notice your water heater is no longer keeping up as well as it used to. So, we are offering $200 off a tank-style water heater replacement, or if you want 1 hour long shower or more, we can install a tankless water heater with $400 off. This month only, so call Connolly Plumbing Solutions at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Side of Rob Side Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Side Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Side Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Side Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Site Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Site Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Site Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Site Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, robsight.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. I'm talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible with no downtime. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain doesn't get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
To
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
What's up, football fans? BetMGM is giving you the chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bet credits. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you could be able to split the grand prize with anyone else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. Log into your BetMGM account today and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice, up to 1 player per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of the $250K in credits. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada. BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot subject to rules. See BetMGM.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are unrestricted unrestricted rewards credits that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold, presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We learned earlier that the Chiefs will be wearing white in the Super Bowl, which makes sense. They're the road team. It rotates. The NFC is the home team this year, no matter who the teams are going to be. Teams that wear white jerseys in the Super Bowl, 16-4 since 2000. And 2 of the 4 losses were because the Niners were wearing white against the Chiefs, who won wearing red. So, as far as the Chiefs are concerned, 16-2. 16-2.
That's crazy.
When you wear white in the Super Bowl.
So they're good at winning red, or wearing red and doing it. So kudos to them, I guess. They're the only team that seems to break it. We know that
they beat the Eagles wearing white, though.
We also know that the way that this works is that the Chiefs, whatever, like Madden curse, any of that stuff, that doesn't matter. Mahomes breaks all of those rules or traditions. Next up on What's Trending, Matt Eberflus has officially been hired as the Cowboys defensive coordinator, this coming a day after they named Brian Schottenheimer as their new head coach. I told you, I actually really like the current trend in the NFL that is hire the former defensive coordinator who's a head coach as your DC. It seems like it's on kind of a hot streak. I don't know if a combination of Eberflus and Brian Schottenheimer is going well. I sense about 18 months from now, Matt Eberflus will be a half-season interim head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Anybody want to take the other side of that?
You think this year? So
18 months.
18 months. No. I think Jerry will still, no. You can't use normal logic with the Cowboys, Cody. You can't. It's just different
It's
with
not
them.
all smiles and what was that, Jerry?
It's not all smiles.
Smiles and glory holes.
Oh, that's right.
Specifically that. Yeah, I mean, come on.
He's right. Life
next
is missing those two things.
Next up on What's Trending College Basketball tonight, the Kansas Jayhawks are hosting UCF. The Hawks, 13.5-point favorites, is coming off their worst home collapse under Bill Self against Houston.
Yeah, that was bad.
7 o'clock tip. I don't know if I said the time.
They were up 6 points 2 different times with like 15 seconds to play and blew the lead both times in that scenario.
Yeah. Someone, by the way, was asking about that. Are they wearing all white? No. White jerseys. We don't know if they're going all white yet.
All white would be...
My guess is white with red, but I don't know. My guess would be white and red pants, but...
My guess is that. They haven't done all white, I think, into my understanding, since Super Bowl I. Which was in New Orleans.
Well, then that would be the reason why they would do it.
That would be cool, actually.
No, that would legitimately. That would be the reason why they would do it. A little.
I will say, all white's their best look. I've been on record many times with that.
The history of New Orleans makes that what you just said more likely, though.
Yeah,
you got to get the white helmet.
I'm just giving you.
I think that was at Tulane Stadium back in Super Bowl I.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Next up on What's Trending, Adam Frazier, officially not a Royal, signs a $1.3 million deal to go back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think once they signed Kevin Biggio, they had made their decision on utility players, not to mention Michael Massey and another second baseman are on the roster together at the same time still. So we still don't have a good sense. I still feel like there's one more move coming for the Royals, but spring training's in 10 days. So, I don't really know that I can make that, or 2 weeks. I don't know that I can really make that argument anymore. It seems like they're just going to have an abundance of infielders, and they're just going to maybe mix and match or Michael Massey to left field is a serious thing, but then that puts him in a platoon with MJ Melendez. So, it still feels like they got one too many players, but not enough outfielders. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, where they have these guys playing and working during spring training will tell us a little bit, too. And I know Vern's got Royals Rally this weekend. Royals Rally's going on this weekend, so I believe Vern will be on Saturday right here on the station. That's what's trending on Cody and Gold. And someone says, get ready for Marty Ball in Dallas. Oh, this is why I said it on Saturday's show that I do on Infinity. I think now that Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach, if I could make a bet currently on exactly who the Cowboys are taking in the first round, Ashton Genty would be my pick, because they're exactly right. Brian Schottenheimer is going to want to run the ball more. and they have Tony Pollard, and that's basically it.
They're going to draft Genty.
They don't even have Tony Pollard. He's on the Titans,
Tony
right?
Pollard. What's the other shorter? Dowdle, sorry.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle.
I was thinking of their short back.
They probably wish they had Tony Pollard back.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle. Ashton Genty makes a ton of sense for just what they're trying to do.
What pick are they, like 13?
Yeah.
One additional, something like that. One additional what's trending because I just saw it from Schefter.
Uh-huh. Oh, what's he complaining about?
Nah, it's just funny to look at funny bad teams. Browns GM Andrew Berry told reporters that he will not trade Myles Garrett this offseason, no matter what Cleveland has offered. What are you, idiots? You guys can't win. Trade Myles Garrett. You're a terrible franchise.
Do him a favor and do yourselves a favor. Yeah.
You just holding the man hostage while you win 4 games a year? Bad teams stay bad for a reason. That's the whole point. I just wanted to point
I'm
that
surprised
out.
Myles Garrett hasn't come out and said,
Super Bowl
please
trip.
trade me.
Someone was saying Super Bowl 1, LA Coliseum.
Oh, they were saying 4
was Tulane. I knew it was Tulane Stadium, but not 1. Okay. You said 1, I said 1, and then whatever.
It's fine. The point is that the last, I think the
Tulane
New Orleans
Stadium.
was the last time they were the Whites.
That's kind of cool. I think that means they should do that.
Did they win that Super Bowl that they were in?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Tulane, yeah.
And then,
At Tulane
and then
Stadium.
it took them 50 years to get back, and then they just started winning all of them. That's how that worked. They got Patrick Mahomes, and then things were very, very,
Must be nice, yeah.
very, very different. Yep. It is nice. I'm not going to lie. You and I were both looking at it, whether at Underdog or FanDuel. We're taking a look at the MVP odds because I think it says something about the game, and it also just tells you the thing that you and I feel like warn about every year. The MVP favorite is Patrick Mahomes. The Super Bowl MVP favorite is Patrick Mahomes. The second favorite is Saquon Barkley, with it being a little over plus 300 for Jalen Hurts to win it. The big standout thing, other than those are the only 3 people you should legitimately bet on, because you and I both think that 99.9% of the time the winner is coming from those 3 players, is that the odds market is suggesting that there is a notable quality difference in quarterback between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. I did look it up, though, and I don't think it's as big as the betting market would suggest. I actually think Jalen Hurts should be the second favorite because he's still playing quarterback. He's still got his hands on the ball more than anybody. He can still get a pile full of rushing touchdowns as a result of it. And I actually think Jalen Hurts' numbers look worse on paper because they had him throw the ball 180 times less than he did last year. So the yardage, the touchdowns goal, I think they look worse because they straight up stopped having him throw. I compare it to what Harbaugh did at Michigan last year with J.J. McCarthy. They took Jalen Hurts out of the offense, so it makes him look worse. It's weird because they would never do that with Patrick Mahomes. They never take Patrick Mahomes out of the offense. But
I'm with you that it seems to be a larger gap in the odds market between the quarterbacks than we've seen. But I also think Jalen Hurts was playing way better football 2 years ago when they played the Eagles. He's coming off a really good game, but they're more reliant on Barkley, who's amazing, and Jalen Hurts has not played as good a football. So the gap makes sense, and I think they're the only 3 players that can win MVP realistically.
he looked pretty good in that last game when they had
That's what I'm saying.
87 touchdowns or whatever.
Mahomes, Barkley, and Jalen Hurts to me are the only players that can win MVP. I know it's fun to go way off the board. It's just crazy scenarios have to happen. It's a quarterback award. Barkley's the one exception that I could see win because he has 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he might win MVP if that's the case. Whereas it's hard. I don't think Kareem Hunt is winning MVP. If the Chiefs' offense is moving the ball, it's going to be through Patrick Mahomes. Whereas the Eagles, it could be through Barkley or Jalen Hurts. That's why the odds are what they are. So I would say if you gave me $100 to make a bet today, I would make it on Patrick Mahomes at plus money.
Agreed.
To win MVP. If you said I couldn't bet on Hurts or Barkley or Mahomes, then I'm probably like you, picking a defensive player. I just don't see any other. If Travis Kelce, unless you think he's going to retire and somehow there's some sympathetic vote or something, if Kelce has 160 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, well, then Mahomes probably threw for 300 and had 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. I just
and
don't know how.
they're just going to give it to him, the best player on the planet.
Yeah, so I think you would have to go into the crazy scenarios like people did for the Butker vote last year. Again, it's great that you had the ticket. It still didn't win. People are puffing their chest like, I had Butker last year. It almost hit. There's a lot. I almost hit a bunch of parlays in the last 2 weeks. I didn't hit the parlay, so I can't brag about it.
You're not proud of yourself for
no,
almost hitting
so the ticket cashed or didn't cash. Who cares if you had a 100-to-1 ticket on somebody, you didn't win.
No, I don't disagree with
for
you.
a bet like that. Now, if you had a season-long bet and you had 100-1 on a team to win the Super Bowl and they lost in the final seconds of the Super Bowl, you can say, hey, I bet on them in August and I had a 100-1 ticket.
Now, I will say you should have hedged that bet.
No doubt. And there's some people
in that scenario.
I know some people that had the exacta matchup Chiefs-Eagles, and to their credit, if you bet on that in like September, October, you're sitting really nice. That was a very good bet, odds-wise, at the time. But,
so here are the guys who did it, because there have been guys who have done it that aren't those. Here are the guys who, since the year, let's just say 2010, that gives us a nice even round number, who have won MVP that were not a quarterback.
That's right.
Malcolm Smith. I mean, so you got to make like the play, right? Von Miller won it for the Denver Broncos. That was in a team completely not led by offense. Julian Edelman and Cooper Kupp. So, I mean, it has happened four times, about 30% of the time or so, a non-quarterback wins it. But look at who the quarterbacks are when it's the dynasty one. Mahomes has won it 3 out of the last 5 years. Tom Brady won it 3 times during that same run I just gave you. So you kind of have to be a player on the not generational quarterback.
That's why Barkley has
in
a
a
shot
weird
too.
way. Yeah,
he in his own right is generational. But like the Dame, someone brought it up. It's true on the text line 913-586-7965. If Damian Williams couldn't win it with what he did, then it's always going to go to Patrick Mahomes.
Should have won it.
I know, but
that year. But like if we went back, like he actually should have gotten the award, but they didn't give it to him.
That's your reason why another offensive player on the Chiefs, I don't believe, can win MVP.
Yeah, I think if you're choosing, honest to God, and I'm not telling you how to bet or place your choose your lineup, whatever. But if I were betting it and I were choosing not Patrick Mahomes, I would choose a player for the other team. Like I would choose I you just mentioned a defensive player. Like if you made me choose a Chief, I would choose like Jalen Watson or Trent McDuffie and just assume like 2 interceptions happen. You'd be better off placing your money on a like A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith before you chose any other Kansas City Chief that isn't Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion.
Probably,
He's winning the award.
But the same issue applies. If Jalen Hurts throws 2 touchdowns to A.J. Brown, then that's good for Jalen Hurts' MVP case, not as much A.J. Brown.
2021 one, because like Cooper Kupp did win it, and I'm assuming that Matthew Stafford had a good game. I don't,
Stafford was. I mean, if OBJ didn't get hurt, he was going to win it. I think because he was. Really
back up.
Well.
You remember, Drew? That was against the Bengals. What did Matt Stafford finish with versus Cooper Kupp?
Like somebody said, Nick Bolton. Yeah, Nick Bolton was trending. Someone said should have won. He shouldn't have won it. He was trending towards having a chance to win it. Nick Bolton should not have won the MVP of the year. Nick Bolton needed to have that other one not get called back.
Matt Stafford finished 26 of 40, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks.
The 2 picks cost him.
2 picks. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
It was the 2 interceptions. Otherwise,
he
Stafford
throws 1 interception, Stafford wins the award.
You could have argued the one drive where they went down the field while being down by 3, and he threw that no-look pass to Cooper Kupp. Like, he threw the one where he pulled I'm looking this way, and I threw it across my body.
But if the Bengals won it, let's just say they kick a field goal, and Joe Burrow finished with the same numbers, 22 of 33, 263, a touchdown, no picks. Does he win it over Higgins, 4 for 102 touchdowns?
Yes.
I think he does. I think Burrow wins the award.
It's the nature of the award. It takes crazy scenarios. It takes,
Higgins had just good of a game as Kupp.
Chris Jones.
Joe Mixon threw to Higgins that touchdown, by the way, that he got.
Oh, really?
Joe Mixon threw a touchdown pass to T. Higgins in that Super Bowl.
Chris Jones, to win it, would have to have 3 sacks. One would be a strip sack returned himself, not somebody else, himself for a touchdown. Like, is it a 0% chance? No. I think you're like Matt Ariza's on the board at 700 to 1. Like, what are you wasting your money for?
That is a waste of money.
Punter, like they should honestly, they shouldn't even like. I guess people can put their money wherever they want. I would say it almost shouldn't even be on the board, allowed to be on the board. Like, if you're putting even $1 on Matt Ariza to win MVP, what are you doing?
You're like, chump change.
There is that one. I'll tell you, there's a 0% chance. Like I will. That one is 0% chance. The punter is not winning MVP. The same way, like let's be real, an offensive lineman bet. You think it's cool because it says 300 to 1 next to Creed Humphrey's name. He's not winning MVP.
You're just giving him your $1, $5, $10. Whatever you're betting on it, that's a donation.
If you bet more than $1 on that, then I feel sorry for you.
Send Drew $9.65 before you send $10 to the book for Creed Humphrey to win Super Bowl MVP. Patrick Mahomes would have to fumble 3 times on the 1-yard line, and all 3 times Creed Humphrey recover it and land in the end zone for him to win that award. Do you realize the unlikely circumstances that would have to occur?
So Malcolm Butler has to be the longest, like the biggest long shot to win Super Bowl MVP, correct? Here, actually, I just answered my own question. Here we go. I was curious. 4 biggest long shots in the past 20 years to win Super Bowl MVP. You guys have a guess or 2?
Butler is definitely on my list.
I don't remember Super Bowl MVPs like that, so I don't know.
God, maybe Von
These are
Miller?
just either just from an odds perspective, not like name or anything. So here you go. Deion Branch won it in 04-05. He was 15 to 1.
Okay.
Von Miller won it in 15 and 16. He was 25 to 1. He also had what we described. He had a strip.
Terrible too.
He set up the game-winning drive for. Julian Edelman was 25 to 1 in Super Bowl 53.
Did Marshawn Lynch win?
Seahawks linebacker Malcolm Smith off the board. You couldn't even bet him.
Wow.
Couldn't even bet him. That's technically the biggest long shot.
Could you? That would actually kind of upset me. Can I refund? Like, if I couldn't even have won the bet, can I get my bet just on that one? If I was not even financially allowed to win the bet, I'm not saying it's ever happened. Antonio Holmes and Cooper Kupp, like it does occur, but with Patrick Mahomes, it seems even less likely.
Did Russell Wilson win that one when they destroyed the Denver Broncos? Because I'm surprised that like Bobby Wagner didn't win it or Richard Sherman because that was the no-fly zone.
Drew, text line's asking, is it a worse bet to bet Creed Humphrey to win the MVP or to give a guy $100 for your couch?
Ouch.
That's what the text line asked.
Russell Wilson did not win Super Bowl MVP from what I can see on his Wikipedia.
Do we know who won it that year?
What year?
What year was that?
Malcolm Smith. Just said it. The linebacker.
The linebacker for Seattle. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that he played. I'm sorry.
He was off the board.
Okay.
He was off the board.
Okay.
Yeah, Drew,
I didn't realize that was.
Someone says, "Give me Justin Watson, baby."
The only scenario I'll entertain about is what people say with Kelsey is like if he had 2 touchdowns, at 100 yards, would people vote for him just because it's like that perfect kind of story? That would be. He's the only not like if the same stat line was same stat line was Xavier Worthy, they're not giving it to Xavier Worthy. They're giving it to the quarterback.
I would say what I did with my couch is worse than putting $1 on Creed Humphrey to win because again it was only $1 compared
technically,
to 100.
Even though we said zero chance, like with your couch, we knew you.
There's a chance that guy could have still bought your couch. Creed Humphrey can't win it. Like I don't think that guy's ever buying your couch in that scenario. But I would put it in a 0.1% chance. I don't even give Creed Humphrey that percentage to win the award.
That's fine. I just got an email as we're talking, and this goes back to yesterday. Like I love this. Like one of these ticketing sites said, you have a $10 credit to use towards your Super Bowl tickets. Yeah, again,
$10.
$10 credit on my $6,000 Chiefs ticket for a Super Bowl is not going to help.
Pretty good deal, though.
$10 credit.
That's gross. That's sickening.
How much of a credit would you need to buy the ticket? 50%? 60? 80?
60.
60?
Yeah.
And you'd figure out a way to get scrap the rest of the money
I think if you
together?
give me the ticket 65% off, then we're talking. We're talking.
Okay, you have my interest.
Yeah, you get me 65% off the face value or on the secondary market, then we can start talking about buying tickets. I need that price to go down 65% before kickoff.
So good.
Next week.
You mean it needs to go from like whatever it was after fees, 8,000.
That's right. I didn't even factor in fees. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely need 65% off and no fees.
You need it to go from 8,500 to 4,000.
Then Alex is in because he's still got to get a place to stay, and
flights are still about 1,000.
You might. I mean, cheaper to drive by him.
Based on what you said, Cody, you're a high roller because you said you would go club seating.
Yeah, Cody said the $10,000 seat's not good enough. What's another 15,000?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I said 6,500 to 11. I was like, if I was spending 6,500, I might as well.
I'm sure your wife would be like, sure, Cody, no problem.
I don't have the 6,500, so like it doesn't really matter.
You are on record saying
I
you
work
feel
in
like you'd
local
be able to...
radio that only recently switched to FM. I have the 6,500.
You are on record saying you think you could compile a certain amount of money to if you needed to compile a certain amount of money, then
I just said if I knew the results of something, like how much could you get your hands on it depending on how much time you gave me. Because I'm
you have till next Sunday.
I mean,
come up with $10,000.
I could probably get $10,000 together in a week.
You could go through like a true legal process and still get $10,000 by next Monday if you really wanted to.
You're not going to refinance your house or anything like that to go?
Like there are legal methods you could get it. Can
I refi in 10 days?
You could, if you had to have it.
I don't have to have it.
If you had
terrible financial advice,
I have to go to the Super Bowl.
To go to the Super Bowl, yeah. I think I'll just go ahead and keep paying my regular mortgage.
It's going to do it for us today.
I got to refi today.
Tuesday edition.
I got to go to 3 Super Bowls.
That's right. We'll talk more about Patrick Mahomes against Vic Fangio, some pretty crazy numbers with that, and talk a little bit more about where things are at organizationally. And not that they care, but we want to know who deserves more and more of the credit for what's happening. We discussed Brett Veach today. We'll talk about another big piece of that tomorrow on the show. For now, we're going to hand things off to C-Dot and Rob on the drive.